Commissioner Harrell, we'd like to start, please. We'll call the meeting to order at 6:04. And and let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, for liberty and justice for all. And may we please get roll call.
Chair Lufus.
Here.
Vice Chair Monroe.
Here.
Commissioner Garcia.
Here.
Commissioner Harrell.
Present.
Commissioner Gonzalez.
Here.
Commissioner Williams. Here. Commissioner Mitchell.
Here.
You have quorum, 7 present.
That's amazing. Okay. Item number 4, First Community Forum. Anyone wishing to address the Economic Development Commission, EDC, on any matter for which another opportunity to speak is not provided on the agenda and which is within the jurisdiction of the EDC to resolve, is requested to submit a completed speaker card to the EDC secretary. When called upon, each speaker should step to the podium, state his or her name, and address for the record. The conduct of the community forum shall be limited to a maximum of 15 minutes, with each speaker limited to 3 minutes pursuant to Vallejo Municipal Code Section 2.20.300. Do we have any speakers?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Currently do not have any members of the public signed up to speak on this item. I did start a 2-minute timer, which is reflected on the top left corner of your screen for those parties to sign up for the community forum. Feel free to carry on with the agenda, and at the conclusion of the timer, if anybody signs up, I'll be sure to let you know.
Thank you.
Chair. We do have some.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Thank you. Can you hear me? Okay. Thank you. Okay. Hello, good evening. Thank you for letting me be here. My name's Tracy Renee. I own a business here in Vallejo. I actually live in Napa County. And my address is 37 Tennessee Street here in Vallejo for my business. I just wanted to bring some things to your attention, and hopefully you can help me understand this. I received a letter from the City of Vallejo /HDL, and it was sent to my home, to my husband and myself, regarding the property, 37 Tennessee, our building that we own here, that my business is in. And our building is in a trust, and my business is, my business, Jean's Auto Repair, to be exact. And I've had my business. I started it from scratch in 1994. Been here over 30 years. And, love my customers, love so many things about the people in Vallejo. Have lots of complaints about other stuff. Anyway, not here to talk about that. So this letter wants me, as me and my husband, to have a business license because Jean's Auto Repair rents from Tracy Renee, me. And I'm just like, what is going on? So when I called them, HDL, I called them up to ask them, what is this? Like, it doesn't have anything to do with me. And they said, well, no, I can email you the ordinance and, you can read it and everything. I said, I'm looking at it right now, and it makes absolutely no sense. I see nothing in here having to do with owning a property and renting it and all of that. So she put me on hold for a while, spoke with her supervisor, and couldn't find anything that would explain this. So today I spoke with her again, and she said that in section C, this is the only thing they could find about having anything to do with real estate. Section C classification in the ordinance, real estate broker/agent. Well, I remember in the 90s when that went about, because a lot of my customers were real estate agents, and they were very upset, and there was meetings and everything because they wanted to start charging the realtors, the real estate agents, requiring them to get a business license with the city. So I remember that whole thing. I'm not a real estate broker. I'm not an agent. There's nothing else in here. So I was told by HDL that is a very vague, statement here. Every business, including but not limited to, lawyer's favorite thing to write. So anyhow, I'm very upset about this. I think this is ridiculous. I think if this is something that the city even wanted to move forward with, there should be lots of public meetings, lots of discussion, lots of everything, because it's completely ridiculous driving people out of here. I'm about ready to leave forever.
So, sorry, but your time is
Yes,
up.
my time's
I
up.
just want to
Thank you.
clarify one thing, is that you're saying that Jean's Auto Body has a business,
It's not auto body, Gene's
or
Auto
Jean's
Repair.
Auto Repair doesn't have a business license currently, or that
Gene's Auto Repair
or that
does have
they're
a business
asking you
license and has
as
for over
the
30
landlord
years.
to have, okay.
Me, as an owner of my own building, I don't have a business license.
Okay.
Yeah,
So,
for my building. Anything else?
you would have to probably defer to, unfortunately, HDL is, I think, contracted. I'm not sure if Attorney Nebb can answer any of your questions, but I'm pretty sure that HDL is an outside agency that,
Well, they are. They're in Fresno.
Yeah.
They're contracted
Madam
out
Chair.
by the city of Vallejo.
Sure.
My point is, I would really like to, I know my time is up, and thank you for letting me talk at all, but these are the things, this is a money grab. If we go to the ordinance, we go to the ordinance, and of course, the very purpose. This chapter is enacted solely to raise revenue for municipal purposes and is not intended for the purpose of regulation. I know you guys all want money in the city of Vallejo, and I know you're the voice that goes to the city council to discuss, things to not have businesses leave, bring more business in, have a better environment for business, okay? It's like the foundation, there's so much of the foundation broken in this city, and, we're talking about putting on a new roof. There's, the crime is out of
Yeah.
control. We already know, okay? But I'm just saying, this is not going to build, if this is all everybody, this is how we're going to get revenue, we need to build business and encourage people to want to be here to build the revenue to come into the city. Anyway, thank you so much, all of you.
Commissioner
Appreciate it.
Harrell, did you have a quick question?
Just a quick question. Thank you. Just a curiosity, this is on your personal business side, is the business a party to the trust? Is the trust within your business as well?
No,
Okay, thank you.
it's willed, and my wills to the trust. My husband has nothing really to do with my
Yeah,
business.
it's a
just
separate
mine.
entity at this point. So
Correct.
that's what I was trying to find. If it was buried inside the trust,
Correct.
then it would be just a bookkeeping and an error
Right.
on the part of HDNL.
And that's fine, I just want to understand
Thank you.
it because this isn't clear.
No.
Yeah. All right, thank you so much, and we'll
Thank you.
definitely
Okay.
do a little
Thank you all.
research.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
And no other speakers at this time, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Then we move on to the item 5, consent calendar and approval of agenda. Do we have a motion to approve the September 10th agenda and approval of the April 9th and June 11th meeting minutes? And if you were not present, if you have watched the video, you can make a motion to approve.
I move to approve the minutes from the April 9th and the June 11th, 2025 regular meeting.
Do we have a second?
Second. I'm aware I was absent on April, but I did watch the meeting.
Great,
Thank
thank you.
Let's take a vote.
Okay.
In this motion, are you also approving the agenda
Oh,
for
yeah,
today's
do we have a
meeting?
motion to approve the agenda as well?
I'm sorry. I amend the motion to include the September 10th approval of the agenda.
Second.
Okay. Chair Lufus,
Yes.
Vice Chair Monroe,
Yes.
Commissioner Garcia,
Yes.
Commissioner Harrell,
Yes.
Commissioner Gonzalez,
Yes.
Commissioner Williams,
Abstain since I wasn't here at the April meeting.
Commissioner Mitchell.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes with 6 yeas and 1 abstention.
Thank you. Okay, item 6, presentation and commendations. Item A, presentation on the EDC Shop Local Ad Hoc Subcommittees. We hosted a roundtable, Shop Local roundtable with the city consultant Amalia Cunningham. Is she currently on?
I am. Hi.
Hi, Amalia. Do you want to go ahead and lead this presentation regarding the Shop Local campaign? Or roundtable?
Yes, thank you. Yes, thank you, Chair Lufus. Good evening to members of the commission and staff and members of the public here tonight. My name is Amalia Cunningham. I'm an economic development consultant. I've been assisting the city of Vallejo since earlier this year during a time of staffing transition. And one of the things I've been working on is assisting staff with implementing various aspects of your recently adopted economic development strategic plan. As you may recall from the strategic plan adopted last December, one of the items was to engage in a Shop Local campaign or facilitate one, coordinate one, work with your business organizations and the EDC to essentially support local businesses more. So toward that end, we coordinated with the EDC's Shop Local Ad Hoc Committee to hold a business roundtable over the summer, inviting 6 business organizations representing Vallejo businesses, and 4 of them were able to attend along with Chair Lufus and the economic development staff. And I think we were able to have a robust discussion both about the strength of the Vallejo business community as well as different types of campaigns and projects and programs to better support them. So the notes from this meeting were included in your packet. Thank you, Yvette. And I'm certainly happy to run through any of the suggestions or examples that were included in that maybe are of greater interest to the commission or something that seemed most analogous to the situation in Vallejo. Or we can kind of continue to have a more open-ended discussion about opportunities and what your ad hoc committee is thinking or directions you want to go in now. Chair, would you like me to run through the examples from the meeting materials or open it up for a commission discussion?
Yeah, if you want to, did you already have a look at them? Okay, great. Would you like to, does anybody have any questions? Okay.
As somebody that is actually on the ad hoc committee, I'm really curious to know how the agenda was created and formalized, and I'd love to hear a little bit of thinking around that.
Sure. So because it was a subcommittee, you don't have to have a formal agenda. So it's more just kind of highlighting the things you want to speak about and move on from there. And I believe Amalia came up with the agenda for the most part and ran it by staff and myself to just on the touch points that she would like to, that she wanted to address. And it was also Shop Local or Shop Vallejo First has been around in some form for many years. And I think we were just trying to hone in on what the best direction would be for us or any of the other economic development organizations to kind of get that going in this new era of social media and all of the great people we have working towards economic development in Vallejo. So, Amalia, do you want to add to that?
Well, I would add that it really was posited as a business roundtable to allow Vallejo's business organizations a chance to come together themselves with the EDC Shop Local Ad Hoc as sort of a sounding board for it as well, and then staff just there to support. And I think the attendees, reported that it was a useful convening of the business organizations who, of course, have different approaches and different focus areas. So, it was nice to have that dialogue. We had an agenda, but it really was a nice discussion opportunity for the business orgs.
Yeah, and then I'll just also mention that after that meeting, some of the organizations did meet within, they set up a meeting within their own selves and just decided to meet and see where they could take the next steps. So just bringing them together, I think, was really helpful.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Commissioner Harrell.
I'm challenged by the fact that I've been here for, 4 years or so, maybe more. I don't even know. And I have heard about a Shop Vallejo plan since before I got here. Mm-hmm. And I've seen little success, no matter how much effort has been put in.
Yes.
We have seen consultants come and go. We have seen economic development directors come and go. And we haven't seen anything. And I think we have some foundational problems. It's very difficult to sell something or to buy something when it's not on sale.
Well, this was, the whole purpose of the roundtable was to bring everyone together to see what we can do differently moving forward in this new era of social media and marketing in a completely different way.
Social media and marketing has been around for 20 years.
No, I
it's
mean
not
with the
new.
cities, with the city helping with promoting Shop Local versus it just being an outside entity, because
Okay, hear me out.
the Shop Local campaign is actually owned by the Vallejo Chamber of Commerce.
Let me rephrase the question or the statement. We have a dearth of services and businesses that people want to go and shop at. We don't have, we're trying to build a campaign to push people into a forest that has nothing to garner, that they can't gain anything from. So are we looking at kind of like the what is it, the horse before the carriage, or the carriage before the horse, or the cart before the horse? Are we looking at the cart before the horse? It would seem to me that we have to figure out how to build capacity, build business, introduce entities and businesses into this community to build a Buy Vallejo program that's going to have any viability. And I respect the idea that there's an ad hoc committee, but I'm speaking from a position of frustration and acknowledgement of what our current conditions are. Because you guys, we can have.
I disagree wholeheartedly. We have a very robust restaurant, industry, and we'll be hearing from Kirk from Visit Vallejo shortly, and I think that he would also beg to differ. We have wonderful restaurants. We have great places to visit and to see. We have things that other areas don't have. We have a Target. We have other businesses that people can come to from outside the city. More importantly, we want people in the city to think Vallejo first. And if that means instead of going to Benicia to get coffee, you go downtown and get coffee. If that means, you're gonna go to Walmart in American Canyon, how about Target here? So those are the things that we're focusing on. How to keep people in Vallejo, shopping in Vallejo, because the leakage that we can control, I believe, is the restaurant industry. You do not need to drive on the freeway and go somewhere else to eat a great dinner, whether it be a romantic dinner, a date night, a girls' brunch. We have it all here, but people are still going to Concord, to Benicia, to Napa, when you can actually get all of that here, and I think that is where we are focusing. So the cart before the horse, understandable, but we don't need to have 50 options. The 25 we have are amazing, and if we can get Vallejo to frequent those 25, I think that's a win.
Through the chair, I have a question.
Sure.
when you're ready for it.
Oh,
Good. Good.
So let's hear from Commissioner Garcia.
Okay.
I
I
thank
hadn't
you.
finished, but
Do you want to?
Oh,
go,
sorry.
Go for
I'd
it.
like to
Go for
finish.
it. Go for it.
I think that a single industry is a foolish investment. In other words, restaurants are restaurants, but we have restaurants. There's nothing else on the list there.
I know, but we
And
have
do
a
the rest-
leakage report.
Chair, I won't interrupt you if you don't interrupt me. We have a very limited product to sell or to offer. I respect the idea of eating in Vallejo. I do it on a regular basis. I would hope that people would also do that, and we can encourage that. But I think we have a fundamental question that goes even deeper, and I don't think it's being examined at all. What is the policy of this city on purchasing from local businesses? What is the city's policy for all of the purchases that they make, goods, services, or otherwise?
Everyone has to have a Vallejo business license that they purchase from.
That's not the question, and that's not the answer, and I don't think you can answer it. This is a question regarding city policy.
Is it out of our, if I can't answer it, then it's out of our purview, Commissioner Harrell.
We have an attorney here that could possibly give us an answer or insight. The question is, and I'm speaking it as a fundamental of a Shop Vallejo program, if the city government and all entities attached are not seeking to purchase goods and services from businesses within the city as a part of policy, we are not leading as a city, we're not leading our citizens. We're just out there putting out flyers to say, hey, shop here. And I think the efforts are fine, but are we not addressing the fundamental basis of so many things? And I'm going to leave it at that because it seems that we're going to be having contention in this matter.
I just want to say that our body, the Economic Development Commission, is here to try to do everything we can within our purview to create a positive and welcoming environment to businesses and hopefully to our residents as consumers. We are not here to just consistently put down the policies and the procedures that we don't have. That's not in our purview. That's a city council matter. We can bring that to council, but we can't argue it here because it's nothing to do with this body. We are here for economic development in any way, shape, or form that we can create that with the people in our environment, our stakeholders, and do what we can. It doesn't serve this body to bring something up as a shop local, shop first, if the public hears our own commissioners complaining that we don't have this, or we don't have that, or that's not right. We have a leakage report that was given to us the beginning of the year saying where we lose money, where we can attain, and one of the top things on there that we can do is restaurants and retail. That's literally a tax revenue that we can continue, that we can capture, that's within our purview, within our grasp. Whether or not we're attracting major businesses to come here and how the city buys their product, that has nothing to do with us providing a Shop Local campaign. So we're here to create a Shop Local campaign that's positive and promoting our small businesses or large businesses, not to complain that we're only getting restaurants or we're only getting XYZ. So let's try to keep the conversation like in a positive manner or something to do with Shop Local.
I'd like to keep the conversation in a realistic manner. Positive or negative, we have to face it the way it comes.
I know, but that's
I
nothing
am
to do with Shop
raising the
Local.
question, and it can be the purview of this commission to say we need to look into that and we need to bring that to council. That is absolutely within the
But
purview.
that's nothing to do with Shop Local campaign. We're talking
How
about.
do you disconnect the expenditures of funds from city, fire, police? We're not in control of school district or anything else. How do you disconnect that from a
Because-
Shop Vallejo?
Because we're asking our citizens to shop Vallejo.
That's the scope of it.
That is the scope of it. We're not asking
With
the city of Vallejo
limitations.
to shop local.
Okay.
Okay.
You're not understanding.
I understand fully what you're saying, Commissioner Harrell. I just disagree. Attorney Neb?
So I guess I could just quickly answer the base question, and then if a commissioner wants to look at this and discuss it further offline, not as part of the meeting, I'm more than happy to do that. But Section 3.20.2330, which is part of the city's purchasing ordinance, so we have an entire purchasing ordinance, does provide a local preference at this time. So for purchases the city purchases at a shop local level, which is, I think, related to shop local campaign, so I'll kind of go down that little road. The provisions basically are preference to local businesses in making purchases or awarding contracts in an amount not to exceed 5% of the local business's total bid price if the cost differential does not exceed $10,000 for purchases in amounts of $10,000 or more. So it has a threshold, it tells us when it applies. This is what's currently in the code. The city manager's made a couple of comments over the last, I don't know, let's call it year, about, do we want to look at the purchasing ordinance at some point in the future and look for opportunities? And I'm just informing the commission of that. Whether this is one of the opportunities or not, I can't really say. I don't want to go down that road, but I thought I'd provide that information relating to the city shopping local.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Commissioner Harrell, do you want to follow up with that?
Data drives the horse or drives the car. I'd like to know what the amount of money's being spent by the city is within the zip codes of the city at a future date, preferably the next date.
So Commissioner Harrell, just for closure, I want to let you know that I hear what you're saying, but I don't think that the city needs to lead by example. Maybe we lead the city by example. So, Commissioner Mitchell?
Commissioner Garcia, and then I. She didn't get a chance to speak.
Oh,
Go ahead,
sorry,
Commissioner Garcia.
it's the order.
No problem.
Sorry, it's okay, go ahead, Commissioner Garcia.
I probably have a little bit more of a straightforward question to our consultant, Ms. Cunningham, and to the chair who attended. And I know I was on some of these emails, and I'm wondering if you could contextualize a little bit of, I understand that some businesses were brought together to talk about the campaign. What were some of maybe you maybe had a semi-structured agenda. What were some of the goals? And then what can this commission do with this information? What is sort of the vision and the idea around what we might do with these notes and next steps?
So just for some history, the Shop Local subcommittee was around when I joined the commission, and the PIO at the time was beginning kind of a Shop Local campaign, and she was reposting and she was doing all these things, and it was in tandem with the business highlights that we were doing as well. So we would go visit a business, they'd highlight it, we were trying to build that Shop Local campaign. So bringing the organizations together, we wanted them to say, what are the efforts that everyone's making towards this singular goal of shopping local? And from that, we learned that the Vallejo Chamber of Commerce actually owned Shop Vallejo First. They have the website, they basically have all the groundwork done. They just said, if we can just build off what we already have, we can kind of we've already, laid the foundation. What happened after the fact, I'm not sure because I wasn't involved when all the stakeholders got together outside this meeting. But hopefully they came up with something and they can bring it to this body to see where we can support via our Shop Local campaign or our subcommittee that we have. And I believe that subcommittee is up for renewal. Is it?
Yes, I'm looking at that. You created the Business Highlights and Shop Local Ad Hoc Subcommittee on October 9th, 2024 through a resolution for a period of 1 year. So as of this October 2025, this ad hoc subcommittee ceases to exist.
Okay, so I guess we could then formulate what kind of subcommittee we want it to be, who would be part of it, and how we would use that subcommittee to help push the agenda for the Shop Local campaigns.
Sorry, and just on that note, so just to maybe clarify a little bit more, so this report is to inform the actions of that subcommittee.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Mitchell?
Yes. I was wondering, so with this, you all discussed expansion of the restaurant week,
Yes.
and curious around how do we ensure that they're lasting business relationships rather than short-term promotional spikes? Like, what is the long-term plan
Actually,
for?
Kirk from Visit Vallejo could probably speak more to that since they're doing a second restaurant week.
Okay.
And that restaurant week is facilitated by Visit Vallejo. So having him here is probably perfect. He'll answer all the questions about the restaurant week for sure.
Chair, if I may, to hit that point as well as the earlier point by Commissioner Garcia. I think one of the, I'm sorry, Chair, may I interject for a moment?
Oh, yes, please.
Okay, thank you. I wanted to add that really, as we talked about, one of the goals of the Business Roundtable over the summer was to facilitate a dialogue among the many fine business organizations serving Vallejo. You know, they're very busy people serving large communities of business owners. So we know it's hard to get together, and we wanted to make sure that happened and that any redundancy in their efforts in this regard were aired. And I think that as well as opportunities unveiled. So I think we did succeed in that. And then to the next point raised by the commissioner, we did discuss training and how the city has an ongoing relationship with the Solano SBDC, because of course you make a great point that having some new customers for a week is great, but that doesn't sustain you over the course of a year. And the city's relationship with the SBDC provides trainings and, you know, everything from operating a food business, and the city actually recently facilitated a in-person training with Solano County Health Department on that. But, you know, running a business, hiring employees, being in compliance with labor laws, all these things that are necessary to sustain long-term success in any business venture. So I can assure you the staff is very mindful of the need to not just kind of be darting in and out with special promotions, but to provide sustained benefits to the business community.
Through the chair.
Sure.
If I may, my questions now. So the last time we got together to do some agenda planning, we had talked about this subcommittee, the Business Highlights and Shop Local Ad Hoc Subcommittee. Given the August recess that the commission had, there was going to be an effort to get together as an ad hoc and brainstorm on what specifics the EDC would be working on for the remainder of the year. You know, also using the roundtable as information coming out of that. On your agenda today, you are considering expenditures as proposed by the Business Highlights and Shop Local Ad Hoc Subcommittee. So right here, right now, we are trying to get us to formulate some action for item 9D. Just wanted to make those comments.
Great, thank you. And one other thing, Commissioner Garcia, or all the commissioners, but if you look on the notes, there's examples of existing campaigns the EDC could join, and that's where the Solano's CBDC is listed. And then right underneath, there are examples of other economic development commissions in other cities that have some really great programming. And I thought one of them, if I can remember right, was like a hashtag like promotion. And if you hashtagged, the city would go through it, or the Economic Development Commission would go through it and then choose someone and then give them like a micro grant or something. Or it was like, you know how we have the we'll repay you for security cameras? They have a we'll repay you for beautifying your business. So if you were like a coffee shop and you added a cute like floral wall and you took a picture and you know, maybe that month you're winning like the repayments or for your expenses, which I thought was really great and a more positive spin on the security cameras versus beautification. So maybe sometime in the future, this body, if we continue to get funding, could support something like a micro grant towards businesses that way.
Great, appreciate that, thank you.
And that was the Hayward program, Chair
Hayward,
Lufus.
okay, yeah.
And it's linked in the packet.
Yeah, it was great. So are there any other questions regarding the Shop Local Ad Hoc Committee? No? I don't see any other. All right, well, thank you so much. Oh, sure, Commissioner Harrell?
As I was reading through the notes, and I'm not sure where it was exactly, but it indicated that the Vallejo Chamber was the key to much of this, from the standpoint of their website or whatever they've already established. The question that I have is, are businesses that are not a member of the Vallejo Chamber included in the potential businesses that people can visit or engage with?
Yes, when speaking to the chamber, Shauna said that they would include all businesses of Vallejo. And so I guess I want to say possibly 7 years ago, they tried to start this program. And it was, I'm sure you've seen stickers, probably Shop First Vallejo or Shop Vallejo First. And so they created the website, they still have it, they have stickers and all the things. So we just felt like maybe that would be a great point to start looking at that program and see if we can just build from there. Yeah, and we learned that during the roundtable. Everyone kind of had their own thing, and she was the one who brought that up. So, yeah, I think that's it. Amalia, thank you so much for your help and for hosting the roundtable. Okay. Let's move on to the item B. I do not have an update. And then let's move to item C, Visit Vallejo Quarterly Report with Kirk Smith.
All right, good evening. Thank you, Commissioner Loftus and Vice Chair Monroe and all your commissioners, city staff. It's great to be here for the Visit Vallejo quarterly update. Before I jump in both feet into what I have provided as a presentation, just to provide a little bit of input on the previous discussion regarding Shop Local as part of the local businesses that our consultant was referring to. We were a part of that conversation at Visit Vallejo, and it was a very productive conversation, and look forward to the next steps associated with that. And you'll see some of that in my presentation. But shopping local is a culture. And one of the things Visit Vallejo has started to do as it relates to that is to build the culture through trial visitation. And that is Restaurant Week is designed to bring new people into new restaurants, into older restaurants, just into new experiences for them. And the more and more we can do that, whether it's, excuse me, with restaurants or with hotels or any type of retail outlet, it's an important part of it. And sustainability, and I really appreciate those comments regarding how do you sustain this. And it's all of this collaborative effort that is just getting started that is going to be the collaboration that really matters and allows us to move to that next level of a Shop Local campaign. So I just wanted to kind of bring that out. So on my agenda, I have 6 different topics. I'll give you a lodging update. We'll take a look at our VBID, our Business Improvement District modification process, which we talked about last time, so I have an update on that. What's happened since we last met, what we currently have going on right now, and what's next, and then open it up for questions and so forth. So as we move into the third quarter, well, we're already in the third quarter, and we were prepared to speak to this in August, but that meeting didn't happen, so we're here tonight to report on our second quarter performance, which from a key performance indicator standpoint, we were up as a hotel community, a lodging community here in Vallejo. We were up 1% over the previous year in terms of occupancy rates. So we put a few more heads in beds than we did last year during the second quarter. But in order to do that, it's apparent that we had to play with pricing a little bit, and we saw a 4% decline in average daily rate for the quarter, and we were down in 2% in RevPAR, so revenue per available room. And that just compares to a very similar trend that we saw in the first quarter, which we were flat in occupancy rate, down 2% in average daily rate, and maintained down 2% in our revenue per available room. So looking forward to what does that mean for the year? Year to date is up 1% in occupancy rate, down 4% in average daily rate, very similar to what we saw in the second quarter, and down 2% in RevPAR. For the running 12 months, it's the same. So a few more heads in beds at a lower price is really the formula right now that is providing our results. We are certainly not satisfied with a 1% growth rate over the last 12 months or even within the first couple of quarters, and we have put some programs together to address that, which I'll be highlighting to you shortly. In terms of the revenue generated through the Vallejo Tourism Business Improvement District for our fiscal year, which models the city's fiscal year, we run July through June. We were down 1% for the year. When I took over this position in early January, we were down 8%. So we had a pretty good first quarter and a pretty good second quarter compared to where we were trending in the summer of last year and on into the fall. So the trend is moving in the right direction, which is north. So we generated just shy of $300,000 through our business improvement assessments. And just as a reminder, when you stay in a hotel in the city of Vallejo, you pay the 11% TOT tax. That it goes directly to the city and to the general fund. And then the business improvement district assessment, which is $2 a room night for hotels with 39 rooms or 40 rooms or more, and $1 a room night for hotels that consist of 39 rooms or less. So that's how that revenue is generated, and that comes to Visit Vallejo. In terms of our funding and our efforts, when I was here in April, I believe it was, April, we had just introduced this bid modification concept, and that is modifying that $2 a room night or $1 a room night when folks come and stay in hotels within Vallejo. And I think I mentioned at that meeting repeatedly, we were in the first inning of that process. And we currently are probably in the third inning. So it's progress. We have met with all the hotels and have the majority of the hotels on board with us moving in a direction where we can come to the city council and request a bid modification of 50 cents per room night in 2026. Which would take place on January 1st of 2026, and then another 50 cents that would go into effect on January 1st of 2027. So ultimately, we would raise it $1, but we would break it out in 2-year increments. What does that mean from a revenue standpoint? If you just took flat occupancy rates based on what we did in 2024, 2025, it would be for a 6-month time period of our fiscal year, about $57,000 of incremental revenue, and for a full year, $114,000. So over that 2-year period, we can generate $228,000 more in revenue for Visit Vallejo to operate and fulfill its mission to the city, which is to drive tourism, as well as community pride and other local efforts. Similar to the Shop Local program and so on and so forth. So we're making progress. The next slide, you'll see what we have earmarked to do with this additional funding, and that is to market. Not only market Shop Vallejo in Vallejo, but market outside of Vallejo to get people motivated to come to Vallejo to stay in our restaurants. Hopefully they're not staying in our restaurants, but to stay in our hotels, to eat at our restaurants, shop at our stores, visit our attractions, and just gain the experience and the exposure of the diversity of entertainment. Come to our events, the diversity of what Vallejo has to offer. Having an always-on media campaign through social media and through some other digital tactics would be a part of our expenditures with this additional funding. And you'll see here in a slide or two kind of how our revenue breaks out and how much of our funding goes into different expense categories. But we are definitely not funded to do the things that are on this list right now, to be always on in marketing, to always have impression-based exposure in key feeder cities. Now I'll just use Reno and Fresno, Southern Oregon, Chico and Redding, and those overnight destinations. In my prior life at Six Flags, I know that's where folks came from to go to Six Flags, where they would stay the night and they would visit the park the second day. And so in this role, being able to tactically address that through marketing campaigns is important. Development of a mobile app, and you guys can read the rest of the stuff on the list that we would do with this additional funding. One of the things we don't necessarily have listed high on a priority is staffing, because one of the things we want to be able to do with the additional funding is to reinvest it in marketing and drive more people here. And then once we got on the other side of 2026, 2027, perhaps, then we would look at, the additional funding that was going to come with additional occupancy rates and higher levels of assessment funds coming our direction. Then we would start to rebuild our staff. So we have on the schedule for October 14th to present this to the City Council. The staff report is being worked on right now through our economic development liaison. And we're looking forward to that presentation and hopefully receiving the City Council's blessing to move to the next step and through the process and have a public hearing and have a reading of the ROI as well as a second reading, and hopefully get this all knotted up and put a bow on it by the end of the calendar year so we can roll it out at the beginning of the fiscal year. So that's an update on that. So first inning in April, now we're in the third inning. I think we're going to come out of October in the sixth or seventh inning, to continue to use that metaphor. Part of our agreement with the city is a financial update. So here's a financial update. I didn't realize it was so small because it's big on my screen. But this is our year-end financials. We are a nonprofit, 501c6, and certainly at full disclosure and very transparent in our financial statements, but generated just under, as you can see there, the $300,000 in bid revenue, and then the other buckets. So 75% of our total operating revenue or operating income comes from the bid assessments, and you can see where the other ones come from. We made very good strides in sponsorship, which was a new program for us this year, which generated a good portion of incremental revenue. And then we went through our expenses. 66% of our expenses is staffing. I just want to call out that 11% is in marketing. And when I say marketing, that's website, that's everything that you can possibly put in that bucket. And it's just not enough for us to move the needle. So we, in our high water benchmark year of 2017, 2018, when Visit Vallejo was generating over $500,000 in revenue, mostly through the bid, as it's reflective here, we were investing about 30% of our operating income in marketing. So that's our benchmark. That's where we want to get back to, and this bid modification will help us get there. In terms of 2025, 2026, as we look forward to the fiscal year we're in right now, our budget is similar. We do see a 7% revenue growth. If you can take us to the next slide, Manny, thank you. Again, we were just under $400,000 in this past year. Now we're going to jump over that $400,000 mark and start making our way back to $500,000, $500,000. And we're a nonprofit, so we're going to do what we can to strategically spend what comes in, all following the mission of driving tourism and driving economic development to the city of Vallejo. As you can see here in our budget, in our plan, with 7% more revenue, the shifting of things around, we're gaining 6% in marketing investment in 2025, 2026. And the more we the better we do each and every month through a forecasting process, we'll continue to use those extra funds in marketing our city and marketing Vallejo as a destination. So moving on to the next slide. So that's kind of the assessment of where we are and updates from when we last met. What has happened at Visit Vallejo since we last met? One of the biggest things that we've done is made not only a financial investment, but a prioritization investment and made our website a priority through website analytics and so forth. People were coming to our website and leaving our website. And I'm asked the question of why. Why are people coming to our website? Well, they're coming to our website to find out what's going on, right? And I pull it up and we weren't telling anybody what was going on. We are now. Our investment has been focused solely on our events calendar. If you would have looked at this 3 months ago, you might have seen 6 events scheduled through that time, through the end of the year. Now we have over 120 events. And our mission and our goal and our passion and everything that we do as it relates to this will be to be the #1 event-centric website in the city of Vallejo, if not within Solano County. So we have someone that's constantly scraping other sites and building these calendars for us, and we've seen the results, and I'll share those with you as it relates to website visitation. Since we've done this. We also have a partner with us with Vallejo Main Street, who we've collaborated with, and other nonprofit organizations, community organizations to join forces, as well as with the City of Vallejo. In fact, if you're on the City of Vallejo website now and you click on events of what's going on in the City of Vallejo, it now points to our events page. So we're pretty excited about that and look forward to growing that and, again, being the #1 event website where people go to. And it just becomes iconic. You want to know what's going on in Vallejo? Visit the Visit Vallejo website. So, other than that, the aforementioned Restaurant Week, we had a Restaurant Week in the beginning of June, where you can see the restaurants that participated in here. And some of these are partner restaurants, which means they're a paying partner of Visit Vallejo, and some of these are not. This is open to all restaurants, and we're very pleased with how this year's performed versus last year, so much so we're going to roll out a Restaurant Week #2, and I have some statistics for you on the next slide as it relates to that. We hosted our annual partner and tourism luncheon, where we installed a new board of directors. We've also secured 6 annual sponsors that pay us a larger call it marketing fee than our partners do, and it has allowed us to do some really cool stuff, which we wouldn't have been able to do without their partnership and without their investment in Visit Vallejo. And that is at Six Flags, the San Francisco Bay Ferry, WETA, Recology, Solano County Fairgrounds, Mare Island Company, and just recently our city. Our city of Vallejo is now contributing financially to the successes of Visit Vallejo. So we're very grateful for that. Restaurant Week, we had, as you saw on the previous slide, a number of a number of restaurants who participated in our Restaurant Week. This was a gamification where you, on your phone, had an app. When you walked into a restaurant, you were able to punch in a code. It would recognize that you're at this particular restaurant, and you would get points. And then the winner, whoever went to the most restaurants, won a prize, and it just created a lot of exposure above and beyond what we did in social media. And so this is one of the things that we took to the Shop Local ad hoc committee, or the group committee, as something that we can build on. It can be more than just restaurants. It could be retail. It could be a certain time frame. You know, promotion and trial visitation will build sustainability. I don't think any of these organizations have the necessary means to really sustain something like a Restaurant Week year-round yet. But it's certainly, if we can break in and break through quarterly with this type of program, because it engages the community, engages the restaurant, it gives you special deals, it gives you a reason to visit these restaurants more so than just getting a price discount or eating a great meal or having a great experience. It allows you to participate in this gamification of it. So we were very happy, very proud of the results that we saw. Thousands and thousands of website posts or social media posts that were associated with this, up and above what Visit Vallejo and the participating restaurants were able to provide. So this has a little bit of legs. We've had some old friends change new names. The Super 8 Hotel is now the Prime Suites. If you hadn't had an opportunity, they've done a wonderful job in remodeling the lobby, remodeling the rooms, remodeling the exterior of the what was the Super 8, now the Prime Suites. The owner is just a great guy. I would encourage everybody to go by and just introduce yourself. He loves the conversation. He's looking for help in many, many ways. And Visit Vallejo has extended a hand to help him, and look forward to having him in our city as one of our participating hotels. Savage & Cook over in Mare Island is now Redwood Empire, and just a quick plug for them. They have their grand opening this coming Saturday, the 13th. But pretty big business for Mare Island, pretty big business for Vallejo, just with a new name. So that has taken place since we last met. We are just gone crazy on social media. The event strategy, getting people to lead them to our website to become that #1 event website, is really done through social media. We do these weekly social media posts that outline all the different events that are taking place within the city, and they're getting over 20,000 views on each and every post. So if you're not following us on social media, definitely, it's a great way to find out, outside of me coming here once a quarter, of what's going on at Visit Vallejo. It's a great way to understand what's going on at Visit Vallejo, is following our social media accounts. And so we're pretty proud of the progress we've made in that area of our business. Also, since we last met, we hosted our quarterly beautification day, where Visit Vallejo leads a local cleanup. This one, we selected 2 of our hotel partners that are right across the street from each other at the Solano Inn and the formerly mentioned Prime Suites, which was the formerly mentioned Super 8. We did this on Saturday, August 23rd, had 75 volunteers show up, received wonderful press and media coverage, but most importantly, you'll see on the next slide, the before and afters. 75 hotels, or 75 businesses here to help clean up the area around 2 hotels. We picked up close to 10,000 pounds of trash, partnered with Recology, partnered with Six Flags. Everybody that showed up received a free ticket to Six Flags. Recology donated their dumpster. Solano Inn was there providing water and rooms and air conditioning for people to rest, because it was a relatively hot day. It was just a great example of the community coming together. McDonald's and CC Yin's McDonald's, Jack's Junk Hauling Company was out there. We couldn't have done it with all of them, and without the leadership of our board chair, Mark Walter. So we were very pleased with that. And the next slide, Manny, if you can go there, it gives you a before and after look of what the 75 community volunteers were able to tackle and address. Visit Vallejo has made the commitment to host one of these once a quarter. And this was our second one of the year. So it might not fall within the quarter of a calendar year, but for a year is certainly our goal and our mission. And we will have at least one more before the end of this calendar year, and then one in the first quarter of 2026. So be on the lookout for that. I pull up this slide because these were our MVPs. You can see our new assistant city manager was out there cleaning up some trash, although she's wearing a City of Dixon shirt, but we'll deal with that one later. And the other photo is important, because the gentleman in the middle is Greg McGee, and Greg is the new general manager of the Courtyard Marriott. So he left his property on a Saturday, which was probably a very busy Saturday for him, to come help out another hotel and another area in the city. And I just thought it was important that we recognize Greg for stepping across the aisle and helping his competitive, this very competitive industry, hotels. And for him to do that was a noteworthy for this group to hear that and understand. We've produced a new fund map. This will be available for download on our website in the coming days. So worked with several different partners and a local designer in Miro Salazar to produce this map for us. So we're very happy with how it came out. It's fun. You're not going to grab it and it's not going to get you from one place to the other. But when we are back in operating the visitor center at the ferry terminal and for clients and for hotels to have in rooms, it's just a kind of a fun way to outline all the wonderful things that we have in Vallejo and encourage people to come stay, play, and explore while they're here. This is our new board of directors. Same board chair, Mark Walter, still our board chair. Our executive committee is pretty much the same. Krupa Naren, who's our treasurer, joined us tonight. So Krupa, thank you for being here. I sent an email out to the whole board. We need that support. And you can see Krupa's the only one that shows up, but she signs the check, so that's okay. She's a treasurer. But a wonderful board, very diverse in terms of its industry and its specialty. We have hotels. I think we have 6 hotels, which is the most hotels we've had on this board at one time. In my 20 plus years of being involved with Visit Vallejo, whether on the board or as a chair and now as CEO. But we also have the education with Toro University. We have Six Flags and the Weta as major attractions and transportation areas. We have consumer music for retail to really get an understanding of what's going on in the retail space. And then our restaurants and of course our hotels. So a lot has happened since we last met. So what's going on currently? We are right now in collaborative discussions with the San Francisco Bay Ferry and Mare Island Brewing Company of moving our ferry visitor center, which is located at the ferry terminal, to what was the San Francisco Bay Ferry ticket windows. They no longer operate ticket windows. Everything is done digitally. So our hope is to, and we're working with the city and with those 2 partners on some leasing and subleasing language, but eventually we're going to shift over about 74 feet from where we are now to the other side of the bathrooms and be able to reopen our visitor center. Right now our visitor center is open from a exposure standpoint. We still have the brochures, we still have the flyers, we still have the posters up for coming events. We just don't have a person there to help tell the story because we're in the process of moving. Once we do move, we want to take this to a level that is very modern and the use of digital and technology. So the next slide will give you an idea of what our vision is for this new visitor center. So it'll be digital. So instead of seeing paper flyers or paper posters or frames that I had to go out and buy and put things in just to clean it up a little bit, it'll all be digital. We'll have digital screens, we'll have color, we'll have music, we'll have a very vibrant, welcome first impression to those that come inside the ferry building and see the visitor center. And then along the side as you exit out the doors, I envision these movies theater style, digital monitors talking about all the wonderful things that await you on the other side of these doors as we provide the ultimate transitional point of their emotional transportation of coming off the ferry and coming through the visitor center. So we have currently going on September to Remember promotion. This is a promotion where we have spent some of that 11% or 17% this year, because we're in this year's funds, of our marketing dollars in Reno and Fresno on a 2-week advertising campaign called September to Remember. And what this is just educating those in these markets that don't necessarily know what's going on in Vallejo, about what's going on in Vallejo. And September is literally an explosion of events, and we wanted to let them know. So we've gone out and we've done 2 weeks of digital advertising. We've used Google, the Google advertising network, as well as the Meta, which is Facebook and Instagram advertising networks. We've spent about $10,000 in this advertising campaign, and we're seeing some very nice results. If Manny could just go through the next couple slides for us and see some of the Google ads and the creative that we've generated. And the next one is my favorite slide in this whole deck. It just outlines the different events that we have going on, major events that are worthy of folks coming from 150 to 200 miles away, come to Vallejo, attend the event with this itinerary-based concept that on Saturday you go to the event, and on Sunday you do this in Vallejo, whether it's go to another one of these events. It's a 2-day event. You get on the ferry, you go to San Francisco, you hang out and go to one of our restaurants, and just please, please, please stay in one of our hotels while you're here. So we took the opportunity with this event, the amount and the magnitude of these events in September. So we're seeing really good results. We've seen website visitation, which is the ultimate key performance indicator from this. I think 254% increase in website visits during that same period of time for the first 2 weeks of this promotion, and 350% increase in page views. So people came to our site, they saw this landing page, they clicked to the events, they clicked to the second day opportunities, and they clicked into our hotels. So this is the kind of thing that Visit Vallejo can provide year round. When, not if, but when we get the funding and we have the resources to do it. So this weekend's a big weekend for events in Vallejo. So we got the Kite Festival, we got the Independence Day on Georgia Street, the Founders Day over at Mare Island. I mean, I can go on and on. Six Flags is opening their Oktoberfest, so we're seeing really nice results. We're seeing nice results. Where the rubber meets the road is, do our attractions, do our hotels, do our restaurants, do our businesses see the results as well? And right now it's early, but the indications are yes. So from an economic development standpoint, tax revenue as well as business improvement district assessment should see some impact, positive impact from this promotion as well. And that's just some of the websites, examples of our websites, and then I think you all have this packet, and it has graphs in it of how we're doing and performing in website visitation and so on and so forth, Manny. So if you want to just kind of go ahead to kind of put a bow on this for everyone, what's next? Taking the concept of September to Remember, taking the concept of Restaurant Week, and taking the concept of Shop Local and throwing them all together. Use advertising to drive this concept of Shop Local with a Restaurant Week, with reasons to visit Vallejo. So kind of a hybrid of, we'll call it out-of-market messaging as well as internal community messaging, and bringing those together for the holiday season. We have Winterfest, the Mad Hatter events, and other events that will be taking place in November and December. It's obviously a big time for retail, so a great way to take that Restaurant Week concept and tweak it a little bit and have restaurants and retail locations participate in this gamification and generate reasons for people to visit their locations and their stores. And the key collaborators of that are, of course, the Chamber, Vallejo Main Street Hispanic Chamber, City of Vallejo, the Ferry, Six Flags, and Visit Vallejo, partnering with all of these folks to get this done. So as part of that, we want to provide the opportunity to have our local businesses participate in guest service training, and have this be wrapped around this concept, this cultural concept of why people would want to come to Vallejo for their commerce. And so we're working right now in negotiations with a guest service trainer to come in, and this would be free for our community, free for our partners, free for anybody that wanted to go. And we're hoping to have this rolled out. It doesn't look like we're going to be able to roll it out prior to November, but right after the first of the year, or certainly as we head into the spring of 2026, we will offer this free guest service training to our community to help us roll out a Shop Local cultural modality within the city of Vallejo. And I just attached, as the last couple slides, the marketing calendar that we're operating with. And like any calendar, it's fluid, it's dynamic, it'll be changed, but these are the foundational items and strategic elements of Visit Vallejo for the 2025-2026 fiscal year. So with all that being said, I thank you all for your time. I look forward to a third quarter update. And as my friends at Six Flags would say right about this time, that's all, folks. So there any questions,
Thank
comments?
you so much. That was amazing. And I'll just speak for myself as I've seen your ads all over. They're great and they pop up, often. So whatever the key points that you're using is hitting the right audience, I think. So,
Right on. Well, thank you.
does anybody have any questions? Commissioner Mitchell.
Yes, I wanted to say thank you for such a thorough presentation, showing us the data and what it's looking like, especially, I'm excited about this marketing campaign. I would like to revisit the bid assessment increase, and I'm curious, the change between our small and our large hotels. Is there support for the smaller operators? And how is that bid going to directly impact those two different groups?
Yeah, so when I was here last, and the original modification request or proposal was $1 a room night, and it was really the smaller hotels that had us take a step back and say, $1 a lot for us to absorb, even though this assessment is transferred over to the guest. The hotel doesn't pay it, the visitor does, the guest staying in the hotel does. But they do felt really from a competitive landscape, one of the things Vallejo hotels have as an advantage is pricing. If you looked at our average daily rate, it's under $100. You're not going to find another community in this area, Fairfield, Vacaville, Napa, Marin, of course, San Francisco, even over in the East Bay, Concord, Pleasant Hill, Walnut Creek, that has anything close to $100 average daily rate. They're in the 120s and 140s. I think even Fairfield's in the 150s, 160s. So we have value on our side, but at the same time, we needed to protect that value. And so when we brought this to the hotel, the hoteliers were the ones that asked us to kind of take a step back on the dollar and break it out over a 2-year period because they wanted to protect exactly what you're talking about, protect the pricing of the smaller hotels.
Thank you.
Does that answer your question?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I was going to ask questions along the same line. A credit card transaction fee is 3.5, 3.9%. Where does 50 cents or $1 come from as a concept that would limit the decision to stay in a hotel that's already 30% lower than the general market? It seems, of course, anybody's going to say, hey, I don't want to pay an extra $1. Anybody, a business owner, I don't want to pay an extra $1. But at the end of the day, if your prices are already significantly low and it's a pass-through price, nobody's going to say, I'm not staying there, it's $1 more. So I'm just curious as to how does that, I guess you'd call it a negotiation, how does that discussion even come about 50 cents? Because if you doubled it, you'd be at almost $500,000 in that 2-year period.
Yeah.
If it was at $1 and $2.
Yeah.
And the impact on the consumer is $1 or $2, less than a cup of coffee.
Yeah, much
at
less.
home.
No,
So I'm just curious as to how does that even come about in a conversation?
I appreciate those comments. And if you go back to the April 9th presentation, you would see it as $1 and $1. And you would see actually $750,000 in 3 years with your CAGR, your compound annual growth rate. And so when it was brought to the hotels, we are a nonprofit organization and we represent the hotels. And there's a Visit Vallejo board, and then over here there's a Vallejo Tourism Business Improvement District Council. And anything that we do has to have majority of votes of the Business Improvement District Council. So when it was brought to them, and that's a representative of the city, our chair, our vice chair, a representative from a large hotel and from a small hotel. And if you look at the hotel landscape in Vallejo, there's a few more smaller hotels than there are bigger hotels. So it really came down to majority of the hotels wanting to stair-step this and protect. And we are, I did this whole presentation of let's look at what it cost for a cup of coffee in 2007, which was the last time the bid had any change to it. 2007. price of gas, price of coffee, price of paper, pencils, office supplies, staff, hourly minimum wage, astronomical difference between 2007 and 2025. So what's another dollar? But the hotels, they spoke, and we had really good constructive dialogue, and they just wanted to protect it a little bit and just go 50 cents a year. So it was more on the smaller independent hotels than the larger corporate hotels. The larger corporate hotels are like, yeah. But again, it's not revenue coming out of their pocket. However, the fear is it was revenue coming out of their pocket when people made the decision to find alternative lodging. The other issue we have, which isn't being addressed here, just to put it out, is the increased competitiveness we are seeing in our lodging community with the short-term rentals, the VRBOs and the Airbnbs. And so that's, once we get on the other side of the bid modification, that'll be the next sword that we start to fall on, is see how we can generate not only TOT and economic development revenue from that business industry, but also how Visit Vallejo can help, because us promoting Vallejo certainly puts people in their locations as well as our hotels. So.
And then as a secondary is looking at the data that you presented relative to occupancy per night, or per month, I should say. It seemed that May had a significant spike. Is there any data to tell us why that had a spike? I can surmise that it was during graduation season for high schools and university, Thoreau and otherwise. I can surmise that is the case. Is there any data that would tell us how that spike took place?
What you would follow your line of thinking right there is, what's going on in the city. If you look at last year's and you look at September is one of our top months in occupancy for the whole year. That's why we took it. Hopefully are taking advantage of it with the September to Remember concept. And it's due to all these events going on. They were going on last year, they're going on this year. We're hoping to give it a little extra juice and we'll all do a little bit better. I can't report for Dock of Bay, but what I saw in the numbers that I ran, they were up significantly versus where they were last year. Well, did Visit Vallejo have anything to do with that? I don't know, but it certainly didn't hurt. So May, and then you have Bottle Rock over in Napa. So we are attached to Napa, to San Francisco. That's the other thing that when we go and think about these events, is everything's in Vallejo. Well, we have to be smart. I have a call tomorrow with the World Cup people, because the World Cup is coming to Santa Clara. The Super Bowl is coming to Santa Clara. And a lot of people would say that's way too far. It's not. Last time the Super Bowl was here, we saw overflow in Vallejo, just by osmosis, just by geographical location. What if we actually put together some programming that made it even more possible, incentives? So those are the kinds of things we're looking at too. So appreciate your questions.
Commissioner Garcia, did you have a question?
I think, were you first? Do we have somebody else?
No,
on the dais?
your name was on.
I'm next,
Yeah.
okay. Sorry, just wanted to make sure. This is a pretty baseline question, probably less about your report, more about hotels. What role does Visit Vallejo typically play in attracting hotels? Because I think I heard a lot about, one of the reasons why people come to stay in Vallejo is often price, right? But I'm wondering if we're thinking about incentivizing other factors for people to come to Vallejo, like the waterfront, like the amazing scenery, the hiking trails, other things, the downtown that we have. I'm curious to know if Visit Vallejo plays a role in that, or if you're working with other organizations that are, and how that might impact or intersect with your organization.
No, that's a great question. We don't necessarily get involved in, call it business development or business acquisition. However, we'd love to, especially if it has to do with the tourism sector, an attraction, a hotel, big restaurant chain, etc. But we understand the value of Vallejo is not only because we have cheaper hotels on our average daily rate, the diversity of things, and I think this map that is included in there kind of pinpoints and was really designed to call those things out that make Vallejo an attractive place outside of Six Flags. And the more we can do marketing-wise, locally as well as in feeder cities or out of markets, the more we can tell that story. You know, golf courses, that was one of the things that we wanted to put on for the second day. You come to Dock of Bay on Saturday, you can play golf on Sunday in Vallejo. Did people even really know that? You can go hiking, you can do, you know, get on the ferry and go to San Francisco. There's all these things you can do that people just don't know about. Or if they know about it, they don't necessarily associate it with Vallejo. And that's what we're trying to accomplish here. And the more we can do, the bigger impact we can make. Did I answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, awesome.
Commissioner Gonzalez?
Hi, Kirk.
Hi.
Thank you for the
Commissioner Gonzalez.
presentation. Good to see you. I have two questions. I love the concept of Restaurant Week. What is or what has Visit Vallejo done to expand and encourage businesses that have no idea about Restaurant Week or any idea about Visit Vallejo? And I'm particularly speaking to the Latino restaurants, Spanish-speaking business owners and such. And so that's first question. And the second question would be, would you guys consider making any marketing material bilingual, both on your website and material that could be distributed? We would be tapping into and untap approximately, I think last I checked, we were 29%, but that was 2017. I think census would show a much larger number now.
No, those are great points and a really good question. I'll address the second one first. You're exactly right. If I look at the data, just recent data of the events, whether it's been the Vallejo Main Street, August Hot Summer Nights, or even Daca Bay, and some of the research I've done on last year's events, there are a few occasions where the Latino audience has been the largest population base. And so, and I'll use the word struggled, but we struggled with this at Six Flags too, of how much of your resources are you going to put towards that. And what I'm learning in this role as it relates to just general Vallejo core business is it's a very important segment. And I appreciate those comments because we need to be more diverse in how we present ourselves and talk about ourselves. So on the first side of that question, what was the first part of that question again?
The first part was for restaurants that have no idea about Visit Vallejo, which I think we have tons of restaurants. I noticed a few, but for those that are not typically on social media or typically connected to those of us that are like ingrained in community, how would they know what's the pathway to participate, to sign up? Where do they go? Who do they talk to? What does that look like?
You sign up on our website, but you need to know we have a website, and you need to know that there's a place on our website that has Restaurant Week included. We really rely, quite honestly, on social media to be our voice when it comes to those things. Not only what is Restaurant Week, but if you're a restaurant, you need to sign up. And then we have our core partners that we work with on the regular basis and we did a very good job this past Restaurant Week of getting outside of that box and that paradigm and picking up some new restaurants. But we certainly can go farther. It comes down to resources, staff, time. But La Cuchara, for example, I'd never even heard of them, and I've been roaming around these parts for 3 decades. And they participated in Restaurant Week. They catered our tourism luncheon, and they've become a faithful partner of ours. And so there's tons of those out there. To your point, it's just about how do we find them, how do we attract them. So, so noted. Thank you.
Thank you.
So just Commissioner Gonzalez, I would just like to add to that, is that something that we could actually help with? This commission, this body could focus on the Latino community or any other communities and help spread the word, like Restaurant Week and other promotions that they can participate in. We could create Spanish, flyers in Spanish, information in Spanish, and help, get them involved with Visit Vallejo.
You go down the ferry terminal, and the only thing that's in Spanish is the ferry schedule.
Right.
Nothing else. today, but we're going to work on that. Thank you for bringing that to our attention. And we talk about that, right, for Waterfront Weekend and Vallejo Fest, and
Right.
and it's an important component. And the more and more I do research on what these events are doing and who they're attracting and who's going to them, we're missing.
Yeah, we are. From this economic standpoint, we spend a lot of money. We're big contributors.
Yes.
We go out to eat. And we purchase here, many of us, most of us, I think not only providing some in our home language material, but even any marketing material, any videos, anything that you can find someone that can do, any bilingual snippets of anything. If you bring us over and invite us, we'll feel like we're a part of it, and we're going to open our pocketbooks a little bit wider. Yeah. Thank you so much.
No, thank you. Thank you.
Commissioner Williams?
Thank you for the comprehensive presentation.
Thank you.
Just following up on Commissioner Gonzalez, I agree with everything you said, and I'm wondering if the city staff could run a report of all the restaurants in Vallejo, either through business tax or sales tax, hand that over to you. And then I know mailings, or maybe it could be an emailing. I don't know. Anyway, I just figure there's different ways to reach out to people, and yeah.
That'd be great. That'd be a great. We get it. The events when someone applies for a business license for an event, it comes to us.
Oh, yeah.
If we can get the same thing of who the restaurants are, who the retailers are, that would be a big help. One of the things we have on our vision board for Q1 of next year, or maybe even more into Q2, is a taco trail. So taking that restaurant week concept and customizing it either by restaurant type, product type, and start to vary it off into different categories. So stay tuned for the taco trail, then the beer trail, and the taco and beer trail.
Great. Is that all, Commissioner Williams? Or did you?
I'm just wondering if over at the ferry terminal, do you have a presence there now?
We do, we'll call it a paper presence, yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
A lot of paper.
A lot of paper,
Okay.
yeah. We have had docents there, welcoming people and directing them on where they want to go. And in my time, in the first 4 months I was here, we did a survey, and 97% of the comments or questions that we received is, where do I buy ferry tickets? And so we worked with the ferry, and we got some big signs on there that said, this is how you buy ferry tickets, scan this QR code. But just really, we weren't seeing the traffic flow necessary for it to sustain itself, to have a person down there, unless the ferry wanted to, contribute, which they didn't. So we made the decision, and we shifted some of those monies, and it allowed us to afford to do some of the things that we had in our presentation since we last met.
I get it. There's some signage that's still down there, and when I'm in line at the ferry, I'm always reading all the signs.
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, where is it? Because it's obviously not in the older building across the way, the Visit Vallejo. So I'm just.
It's in the ferry terminal.
It's in the ferry terminal. It's right next to the, inside the ferry terminal entrance into the Mare Island Brewing Company.
I'll check it out. Thank you.
Kind of hidden around the corner. Now, if we get moved there, we'll be front and center. Really
Right.
provide that emotional transportation when people come in the ferry building. So,
Great. Are there any other questions? Okay.
well, thank you for your time. I'll see you next quarter, and good luck to everyone. Appreciate you. Thanks.
Thank you, Kirk.
I have a question.
Oh,
I just want to know if you have an open forum.
we do. Yeah, it'll come up in a bit, so, thank you. Great, so item D, business retention and expansion training attended by myself. I'll just make this quick. So, as you all know, is there a slide? Okay, you can just flip through these. Go to the next one, Manny. I think all these were provided, but I just wanted to share some of the training that we are allowed within our budget was to attend a few trainings for economic development. This one was business retention and expansion. And for the most part, the information was really great, but mostly just listening to other EDOs talk about what they do and their struggles. And I'll just say, everyone's in the same boat. Everybody is complaining about safety, everyone's complaining about growth and like retail and all the things. So whether they were a large city in like Kansas or a small one in Iowa, it was always the same thing, safety and retail growth. So some of the things that we do, I've seen other places doing, and it was a 50-50 whether it was working or not. So I feel like we're right in there as far as economic, what we're doing and what we're trying to target, especially with our new strategic plan. So Manny, you can go to the next one. So the only thing that we could probably work on is our community outreach, going to existing businesses, finding out, you know, how their businesses are doing, where they're tapping into their hiring process, and also tapping into our local hiring, like our, I think Solano, the SBDC has a program for hiring or trainings, and that would be a great thing that we could offer just to have maybe in our back pockets for people who are looking to Commissioner Harrell's point, businesses that want to move here, they need to know what kind of workforce we have, and part of business retention and attraction is having a solid workforce. So Manny, to the next slide. So quick overview of BRE program would be partnerships and businesses, assessments of businesses is crucial. Traditional surveys, which we've kind of done in the past, and I don't know what we could do differently as far as surveys or how we would do outreach and then bring that data back to this body to see where we can be helpful. Building relationships with the business community, and then offering programs that extend beyond individual businesses, maybe clusters of businesses, and then structured programs focusing on customer service and excellence, which Kirk had a mention that he was bringing in a professional to kind of give a free class on customer service, and that's something that can definitely, our businesses would probably benefit from. Manny, next slide. And then the role, like what's our role as this commission may not be exactly these things, but developing community initiatives and collaborations, offering resources, advocating for business needs within government policies, coordinating properties for business use, identifying trends to enhance business advancement, collaborating for financing, training, and technical aid, and then finding our place within the larger long-range planning discussions, where we could fit in, where we would help. I think last year, the whole purpose of us doing these trainings and talking about trainings is because we didn't really know where this commission fits in or where we could help and what we could bring to the businesses in Vallejo. So I think our strategic plan speaks to this, and just kind of developing those initiatives and where our next steps are is basically what we need to be doing moving forward. So Manny, next slide. And then this is just a weird visionary board that they gave us, like showing all of the arms of everything that we're doing. We're educators, analysts, so on. And Manny, next slide. And then as far as stakeholder engagement, this was a big thing, meeting with the stakeholders in Vallejo. That would be Visit Vallejo. That would be all of the chambers, any kind of boards or bodies that represent businesses like restaurants or hotels or anything like that, and becoming familiar with them, understanding their needs, what they are looking for, what they perceive as problems with their business, where they see their businesses growing or slowing. So just basic stuff that we kind of already know. Manny, go ahead, next slide. And then this was an interesting one. Utilities play a role in our business development as part of infrastructure. I don't know from this body what we could do or how we would kind of collaborate with utilities in our area. I know one utility is our, the VIP, our fiber that we offer. I'm not sure, it's not citywide yet, but whenever people talk about the internet, I always tell them that we have our own internet in Vallejo, and that if you're lucky enough to be able to get it, you should totally get it. Manny, next slide. And then land development. Again, not much we could probably do here unless we wanted to make this a key point in what we're doing is going out, looking at opportunities for land areas for businesses if we want to create, use that as a platform to help provide city council, but I'm pretty sure they probably have their own consultants that are looking at land development. So next slide. Manufacturing partnerships, going to our manufacturing partners on Mare Island, Factory OS and the likes, and asking or just becoming somebody they can go to as far as a voice that will just, or an ear to listen to their issues or how they feel their business is going within the city. And we actually have manufacturing, so if that's something that we wanted to explore, that's another area that we can collaborate with. Next slide. And then the benefits of a solid business retention and expansion program. The high ROI on your efforts, efficient use of our resources, promoting goodwill, community support, organic marketing, being responsive, a market response program, sustainable programs, targeting programs for specific areas of businesses or areas of the city, and then forming strong foundations. And the last one is, I think, we're not employed. So, next slide. And then this is another graphic that's saying the iceberg illusion, what people see, next slide, versus all the work that's happening on the other side. So that was a very quick Cliff Notes version because I don't want to take up too much time, and you all have the slides to review at your leisure. So if anybody has questions about that or about trainings in general that you would like to attend or have more information about, we actually have one more training in November that's already paid for, and I believe it is just a economic development class. I'll confirm that. I want to say it's November 4th. It's a 2-day class. It runs from 8:30 to 1:30. The class is like, it's Eastern time, but our time would be 8:30 to 1:30. It's 2 days, and you have to attend both days. Online, virtually. I put headphones on and I'm able to follow along, and they have some breakout groups that are really great, but mostly it's just listening to other people's information and what they're doing and their successes. So if anybody would like to attend those, just email me and let me know. But if you have questions about any other classes or want the website, I can email that to you as well, so you can look through classes. Commissioner Mitchell?
Yes. Thank you so much for giving us the details around the training. I'm curious, were there one or two approaches that you think we can pilot here in the city that are different from what the chamber's already, their retention efforts? Was there anything that stood out?
Yes. So one of the things that stood out to me were cluster-based. So going to a specific area and then focusing on the area, whether it be marketing, trainings, or whatever that specific area was, and then using that as your, kind of like a baseline to see if their businesses grew, if they had any more success of growing or, having more foot traffic in the area. So that I thought was good. And Vallejo is really set up for that because we do have very specific areas and not tapped into that have great retail and, a mix of business, retail, restaurants in a certain area. Like off the top of my head, I always think of like Broadway and Tennessee area, like all the businesses there. And it's just untapped or not, unless you live there or you know someone specifically there is the only reason you would go. But I just recently found a great restaurant there. So those working with clusters, and that's something that we can do that differs from like the Vallejo Main Street or other areas, because Main Street's mostly focused on just the downtown, where we can be any part of the city. We always talk about the downtown, but we have so many other areas that are great that we could focus on and use that model, that cluster model, to just go in there, find out all the businesses and see what they need as far as marketing, or how we could participate in an event that they're having to promote or bring it to Visit Vallejo and stuff like that. So
Thank you.
yeah, sure. Are there any other questions? Okay, seeing none, great. We will just move on to item 7, report from the committee board secretary.
Thank you, Chair. I do have a presentation, Manny, but as you get that, oh, there it is. Thank you. I want to start by congratulating you. Your work plan was approved by council on July 22nd. So congratulations, EDC. Really quickly, I don't know if all of you were able to see the presentation, but if you weren't, it was Assistant City Manager and myself made a presentation to council. Chair Lufus was in attendance, as well as Commissioner Garcia, to add comments and answer questions, and it was well received by council members. Just kudos to the commission. They really praised how you run your meetings, how you organize yourselves, your vision, your ability to put together the work plan that was well organized, and they also approved your requested budget. So again, congratulations for all the work that went into that. Good job. So I just want to quickly go over, we could go back to the previous slide. For those of you that are new, just a repeat of your work plan's main focus. Strategy and advisement is one of your overarching areas of focus. Business recruitment for new businesses, business retention for existing businesses. You're also very interested in addressing public safety, economic vitality, civic innovation, and technology. Next slide, please. And I think it's important to understand that the creation of this work plan took into account key planning documents that the city already has, including the Vallejo General Plan in 2024, the 2024 adopted City's Economic Development Strategic Plan, and also took into account previous work and vision and discussions that the EDC has had over the course of the last year or two. So that was also taken into account in formulating the new work plan. Next slide, please. So there's your general chronology for this next coming month's adoption. July 22nd, you did have an August recess, but my understanding is that behind the scenes there was work focusing on business highlights and shop local through the ad hoc subcommittee, and trying to identify the EDC's contributions that you want to make to the city's or not only the city's but the community's efforts around shop local initiatives. In September, including today, you will be focusing on formulating a new ad hoc subcommittees and work on your first phase of priorities, and also today, hopefully encumber some of your funds. Your budget is for a one-year period, so you want to move quickly to encumber and allocate some of those line items. In December, hopefully, you're able to put together a list of accomplishments and present to council, or maybe at least start brainstorming and take something to council early in 2026. So let's review the budget. This is your request for 25-26 under the work plan, your new work plan. $20,000, and at this point, it's all available. It's already been added to the city's budget. I saw it, and I added a printout of that as I receive it in your packet. And then your previous year's budget, this is what you have available. 7,000 from your 10,392, you have a remainder of 7,967, and there lays out the line items. So again, you want to move quickly in encumbering and doing some budget allocations. I already went over that one, Manny. And I think that is all, I believe. That is my update.
Great, thank you. Commissioner Harrell, do you have a question?
Yeah, can we go back to that last slide, please? There's a line item on here for supplies, business cards, postcards, et cetera, at $3,000. And I'm very curious as to what business cards and postcards were produced at a cost of $3,000.
You have a balance of 3,000.
Oh, thank you, Jesus. I appreciate you. I'm like,
Yeah. The only funds used from our previous budget was for trainings, so, yeah.
Yeah, just to note, the only thing that's been done is the trainings, right?
Yes. No other monies have been spent from the previous budget except for trainings. Great. And that brings us to item 8, report from City Council Liaison.
All right, where do we start? Good evening. There's a couple of things I have to report on, and I'm going to begin with the work plan this month. So the work plan was approved, but we actually made some additions or some modifications to the work plan. I think some of the commissioners on here are aware of that. We want you, just speaking on the topic of clusters, looking at Sonoma Boulevard, looking at Springs Road, looking at Tennessee, looking at Kings Market up north, and looking at some of these other corridors that we haven't really paid attention to over time. And so to the extent that you can dedicate some time at the upcoming meetings, really digging in and letting us know what are some things we can do at the council level, we're all ears. So that's incorporated and accounted for in your work plan. And then speaking of council actions around economic development, there's two things I want to report on this evening. Number one, the council last night approved an amendment to the MOU that we have with the Solano County Economic Development Corporation, and similar to what we did with Visit Vallejo, that organization will now have to report into the Economic Development Commission on a quarterly basis. And so same goal, right? Encourage synergy and collaboration with each of these groups that are taking care of one slice of the pie so that we can move this work forward. And then the other item that I wanted to bring to the commission's attention is we looked at a master fee schedule last night. It was not approved. We sent it back asking staff to do some additional work on that. But what I specifically asked for was to have them look at potential modifications we can make to fees targeting specific industries that were called out in the strategic plan. So construction, wholesale, software and film, and advanced manufacturing. So it's not I'm not sure if that's included in your work plan for this year, but what we're hoping to do is at the council level really start to move that strategic plan forward. We would really love your partnership in like really digging into that document and finding additional ways to help us like address those areas. And so those are the two items on the economic development front that I wanted to provide an update on. On the public safety front, I think you guys have heard it through various channels, whether that's social media, at the council level, or through the Public Safety Committee. We are in a position, knock on wood, to approve a security guard contract on the 23rd. That's something that had been in the hopper for about 2 years. The chief of police and the police department have been working to identify corridors where those security guards can hopefully act as a deterrent. And so when I think of each of these things, I think we've got to think about them in the aggregate. We've got the security guard contract that's in place. Hopefully, once it gets approved by council, I'm going to speak it into existence. We've got the recruitment and retention plan to attract new officers into the city, right, and to keep the officers we have here. We've got the contract with the sheriff that we're still waiting for approval at the county level. That's on queue for the 23rd. And then we also have asked the chief to look at additional options that he himself has proposed. So there's a volunteer program that he's looking at that's going to get phased in hopefully beginning in January. And we also started to talk about ordinances and additional programs that they can look at. So I had asked for a gun violence reduction program that has been implemented in San Diego and some other cities. City Attorney Neb and her group and PD worked together to figure out how we can potentially start to implement that program in a phased-in approach. And then the other item I asked for too was a reduction in speeds in schools and in business districts. So again, her team and the chief and his team worked with other groups to figure out how we could actually implement that, and the council supported moving those actions forward and also augmenting staff time to go to addressing prostitution and sex trafficking and some of these other issues that we've seen on Sonoma Boulevard. So we are continuing to move full speed ahead on the public safety front. Hopefully you guys are feeling it. We've got the security towers that are being deployed across the city. And if you look at the data looks way better. Even though we're seeing stuff in the news, it's way better than it was a year ago. So we're doing everything we can, but part of the message I shared out last night is that every resident needs to be thinking about how do we, each of us, make our neighborhood safe. And we can do that in very small ways. But that's the commitment we've made to move the public safety work forward this year. I'm personally, while I continue to move that work on the public safety subcommittee, will now be shifting gears to economic development over the next year and a half. So looking forward to partnering with you more closely, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Great. Thank you, Councilman Matias, for being here. Commissioner Mitchell.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you so much, Councilmember. I have a quick question regarding the fee schedule.
Yes.
Would you mind just sharing a little more? What would be the impacts of those changes to the fee schedule? I'm not sure what it's referencing.
Yeah, so is it 5 years or 10 years? Does it depend?
It isn't actually a particular set schedule, but obviously as costs increase to do business, for the city to do business, staff costs, service costs, et cetera, we fall, I guess we could call it potentially further and further behind in how much the general fund is subsidizing the issuance of permits and or entitlements. So entitlements are like land use entitlements. What does it cost to process X application? And permits are permits to do something. They could be a building permit, they could be a roofing permit, et cetera. So periodically, the city hires a consultant. That consultant does an examination of what does it actually cost. So staff provides staffing information, a number of hours on average that each of those things takes to do, whether it's inspect application or inspect a newly installed water heater. Sorry, that was a hot button item, but we'll go with that one. Versus how much does it cost for, planning, building my office, et cetera, to stack up, say, a tentative map to subdivide property or any other type of application. So those average costs are looked at, and the fee schedule is then looked at as a way to balance those costs and have the cost of that doing business fall to the individual who's doing business rather than the overall community through the general fund. But there's trade-offs, right? Sometimes those fees can be very high because some of those items are pretty complicated. Sometimes you might want to incentivize certain businesses, which is what Councilmember Matias was talking about, or you want to incentivize certain activity, or you want a fee that doesn't, I'll use those words because these came up last night. You can listen to the council meeting. I'll call it de-incentivize or discourage someone from getting a permit that is considered something that is, I think the mayor stated it as not a choice. If your water heater dies, you got to have hot water. That's why I made a joke about the water heater situation. But if your water heater dies and you have to have hot water, is there sort of an equity idea or a concept that we don't want people to be at risk because they choose not to get it inspected because they don't want to pay that fee, and then something happens, and how do we feel about that? So I think those pieces that I just talked around the periphery were the things that the council brought up last night related to the fee study of, hey, staff, there's these not straight up pieces, the study is objective. It looks at what does it cost to do something and how much is the fee collected, and therefore how much is there a subsidy from the general fund. But it doesn't weigh the other things, the things that some of the council members talked about last night. So council sort of, I'll use the word, push that back at staff and said, hey, look at these other things and kind of give us an evaluation of that. Accurate?
That is accurate. And I agree with everything that was shared by my colleagues last night when it comes to really thinking at that fee schedule through the residential lens. My comments were very pointed at the economic development lens, because that's where I feel like we have not moved as forward as fast and has seen as much progress as we should have seen. And so the council was supportive of having staff also look at that analysis when it comes to incentivizing those specific sectors to do more business here in our community. So I'll keep you guys posted. Any other questions?
Commissioner Garcia?
Hi, thanks, Councilmember. I appreciate you being out here. I wanted to surface this. I know we're going to talk about action items in a moment. I actually have to leave early before the conclusion of the meeting this evening, so I wanted to surface this. I think one of the ways that I am hoping that you can help this body, I know it's been a challenge. We're all sort of new at governing and government and being an effective commission, and also taking on, I think, a new set of responsibilities as commissioners. And one of the things that I'm most concerned with is the process at which we're actually going to get this done. We've got 5 areas of focus. We have 7 neighborhoods that we have listed that we are going to be tackling. And we have $27,000 basically allocated to this commission, which I think is unique for most. It's not a lot of money in the grander scheme of things, but it is a lot of money in the spectrum of commissions here for the city of Vallejo. And so I take it really seriously. So one of the things that I just want to flag for this group of people is really that we actually only have the creation of 2 ad hoc committees to operationalize and move forward this work plan today. And with that in mind, I'm really concerned at the pace and clip that we'll actually be able to execute this plan. So I'm flagging that for you, council member, particularly as you can kind of help guide us and steward us to move forward the plan. And I think I mentioned that during the council meeting when we talked about the work plan. I'll continue to echo that, that I think if we want to be ambitious, which I encourage us to do, and focus on what we can do, not what we can't do, then I really think we need some ad hoc committees and we need some structural support to make sure that you're getting the advisement that you need.
Yeah, for sure. I don't want to get into trouble with the city attorney's office, so I'm not going to tell you guys what to do, but I can definitely suggest some ideas and work closely with the commission over the next couple of months and with the staff secretary to see how we can be helpful in moving that forward. It is very important. Like, we're kind of setting the stage with all the safety work, right? It's very important as we're doing that the ED work gets off the ground. Otherwise, we're just wasting time. So I will be leaning in, and we will get stuff done.
Great. Commissioner Harrell?
Yes, you brought up the subject of fees and that sort of thing, and I was alerted to something by a phone call from another citizen, and it was related to the action taken by the council in establishing streets, honorary street names. One was Confunction, and I think CC Sabathia was the other, and this was from the Confunction group. You know, their event, the event for the actual street naming and that sort of thing, took place less than 30 days after the approval by council. Interestingly, the city charged a fee to them, a late fee, for submitting paperwork for their event because it wasn't submitted 30 days in advance of the actual event. And it was a little, you know, kind of, really, this doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Do we have any, I mean, you can't answer maybe, but is there any discretion or understanding of timelines within the scope of the city and that sort of operation? You can't get a permit before you can't ask for permission to do something before you're given permission to do something in this environment. So it's very strange that would take place. The second thing, when we talk about fees, and I understand cost recovery, but it's my understanding that they were hit with a bill for $1,000 per street sign, 12 street signs or something of that nature. This is what I was told. I understand a check was, or payment was made. Need to look into it. But it was staggering to hear that number. Street signs might run $70 a piece in quantity. I buy them, so I know that that's what they can run. And where the other $930 go for installation? Very interesting. And I'm putting this to you as a council member because within less than 30 days, you know, you're approved for it. You're given this honorarium. You submit the paperwork, and because you didn't submit it 30 days before, although you weren't given the honorarium 30 days before the event, you're hit with a penalty. That didn't make a lot of sense to me. So if you can look into that, I'd appreciate it, and I can get back to that party. The other piece is, from an economic development standpoint, you know, that kind of turns people off if those people that you're giving an honorarium to, and then they get dinged with a significant bill, let alone the tardiness being penalized about. But when they're hit with a significant bill like that, is there a sheet that is given to folks or that could be compiled, because they didn't receive one certainly, that could be given to folks with an expected expense of the honorary piece that they're receiving? It seems like that would be just SOP. And that, hey, you know, this is what it's going to cost. The number of streets you have is 12, 15, 20 streets. You're going to need signs on this whole lane. This is your total cost. So that they can look at it in budget, as opposed to the surprise that they have to pay out immediately. Otherwise, it doesn't go forward.
Thank you, Commissioner Harrell. City Attorney Neb, any insight you have into that? I mean, I welcome you to send me a note, just a brief note, and we're more than happy to work with the city manager's office to understand what happened here and whether or not we should be issuing some apologies. We obviously want folks to have an experience when they work with our city staff. And what I will say from a policy standpoint is that the city staff actually took a considerable amount of time in like really thinking through what would be a feasible policy to have in place on a go-forward basis. And then we talked about it at the council level. And one of the things I kind of zeroed in on was the fact that the proposed policy called for, after 10 years, bringing those street signs down. If you honored someone, then they were recommending that after 10 years, you take it down and you kind of give it to the person that we were honoring. And I said, and some of the reasons cited was cost, you know, they may not want it to stay up there for some time, and they had done research on practices other cities had undertaken. And what I said was, we should have that up there, and it should be up there forever. And we should pay for it no matter what the cost is, because there's so much cultural value that a city gets from that, and so many benefits beyond the knowledge of just knowing the contributions that were made by an individual, by a group, that they far surpassed any cost or staff time that's going into that effort. And so I was personally happy, although I will look at what you've raised, that at that event, instead of us just having the one street sign going up, right, that there were multiple ones handed out to the folks who were being honored, and that's something that they'll be able to take with them, that they were able to take with them a week ago and not like in 10 years.
Sure.
Or 15 years from now. So
after it's worn out.
Yeah. So City Attorney Nab, anything you want to add on that?
I can just add where the policy lives. So council before we had, I think, one or maybe two, no, it was two that were approved, I think in 2023, maybe 2024. Council before the next two were approved that were both this year, the two you mentioned. Updated the policy or took a look at the policy, including the sign cost, which is actually an exhibit to both the policy and the application. So it is in writing, if that was one of the questions. Is it in writing? Is there knowledge and notice? Yes. I think couple things that can be at play. And you're not necessarily wrong about the cost. So the cost as outlined in that Exhibit A to the street sign designation, there's a design cost for designing the sign in the first place, which is $300. The sign itself, $450. Installation is only $75. You were asking, like, what does it apply to? Installation, $75. And then the maintenance and removal of the signs have two other components to them, and that's paid at the time that the sign is applied for, because that maintenance is an ongoing cost. And those are $190 and $101. So the total cost is high per sign. I think the honoree is gifted with one sign that the city pays for. So that they can have one of their own. The cost relative to the remainder of the signs, I think could potentially be a surprise, and this may be a place for, I don't know, want to use the word improvement, I don't know. I do know that the application always includes a segment of road. So let's say it's Marin Street from intersection A to intersection B, where those signs would be installed. And if you pick a really long segment, and there are a lot of cross streets, you're going to get a kind of a big bill potentially, because if there are 10 or 15 of those signs at that amount, that gets very high. So I think it should probably be something that when the application comes in, maybe staff can, what's the word that I'm looking for? Calculate how many intersections there are and get back to the applicant to say, do you really want that long of a segment because there are 12 signs in that segment, and that would amount to X, Y, or Z. So I don't know what the disconnect may have been there, but that could have been a piece of it. I know that one of the two had a lot of intersections, and I don't remember which one it was. It may have been the confunction one.
Might have been. Attorney Nebb, then you gave a price point of $450 for the sign itself? No?
I did. That is correct.
What vendor are we using for that? I'll ask purchasing.
I don't.
I'd love to cut the cost in
So all of
half.
our signs are all, well, hang on. Our signs are all uniform. I think we have a sign shop. I think we produce them. I don't know the answer to that question. So they're not like the ones you can buy on the internet. They are uniform to the city of Vallejo and have specific information
Custom
on them.
signage is available through a variety of sources, and I appreciate that. I'm suggesting that you probably can buy them commercially outside of the internal operations of the city for less than a quarter of the price. And that's kind of staggering if we're being dinged at, 4 times the cost because it's being done in the city. Whoa, are we making good fiscal decisions in that regard? And I'll leave that at that.
Okay.
Point taken. Any other comments or questions? Okay, all right, I'm done. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. Oh, actually, I do have one. Out of the 4, of the clusters that you mentioned, which one do you think is the most important?
Sonoma Boulevard. And there's a groundbreaking ceremony taking place this Friday, 10 o'clock. I think right by Motel 6, if I'm not mistaken, right in that area. Over by Enterprise in Sonoma. If you look at where most fires are taking place, where most of the crime, most of the deaths, most of the accidents we're having, most of the area that's being looked at for redevelopment, where you have new businesses opening up, it's actually happening on that corridor. So if we repave that road, really lock in on attracting new business and redeveloping some of that land, then you're solving multiple problems at once. Multiple issues. You create jobs, folks are safe, you save lives. I mean, so that's why we got, in my opinion, we've got to pay attention to that corridor.
Okay.
But it's up to you guys to engage and decide.
Great.
Is it the whole stretch of Sonoma or a particular section?
The pavement?
Pardon?
What part?
No, I'm asking you. And maybe you said it, but I
Yeah,
didn't get it.
so I would say from Sonoma, so different segments of Sonoma have different issues that we have to work on. If you look at Sonoma and Tennessee down to about the downtown area, we got trafficking issues. And we've got, abandoned buildings. We've got to activate that area. So there you have a sex trafficking issue. You have economic development item, right? Once you start moving up past Tennessee and Sonoma, there you're dealing with different issues. You're having accidents. You're not having as much trafficking, but there's like land that needs to be redeveloped there. There's homelessness encampments off of the boulevard, right? There's businesses that are just trying to keep the lights on. And so you've got shootings, you've got everything you can imagine is happening from that stretch up to about maybe where the Popeyes is. Then after that, things clear up. And if you look at past 37, between 37 and Mini Drive, there's going to be development there. I think there's a Chick-fil-A, there's a possible hotel.
La Quinta, I think, is.
La Quinta is going to be there. There's a proposed 400 unit apartment complex going up in that area too. So from my vantage point, that part of town, and I really mean this respectfully, I'm not trying to catch any flack, needs less love than that preceding stretch. So, on the public safety subcommittee side, and at the council level, we're focused on the like sex trafficking issue that we've got in that first subsection. And then I'm also kind of looking ahead from an economic development standpoint on that like subsequent strip. That whole road is going to get repaved over a 3-year period at a cost of $131 million. And most of which, I think probably over 98% of it, the state is footing.
Right, because it's a state highway.
Yeah. So,
And they're doing it in those sections that kind of like you spoke about, like
Yeah.
number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4.
Yeah.
So,
all right.
um,
Thanks, team.
great. I think that's all.
Thank
Hurry
you.
up,
Have a
run
good night.
before we ask you another question.
Have a good night, y'all.
Thank you, council member. Okay, so just a quick question. Can we move the community forum up? That way they can speak before we do all of the action calendar, or
By majority vote, the commission can reorder the agenda, yes.
do,
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to move up the second community forum to replace the action calendar in its place for now. Thank you.
to move up the community forum from item number 10 to item number
9.
9?
Actually, 8B.
Yeah, so does any, can we take a vote? Should we do a
Is there
vote?
a second?
Second.
Yeah.
Second.
Okay. Chair Lufus,
Yes.
Vice Chair Monroe,
Yes.
Commissioner Garcia
Oh,
has
she,
departed
Yes,
at
8:15.
8:15. Thank you. And Commissioner Harrell,
Yes.
Commissioner
Yes.
Gonzalez,
Yes.
Commissioner Williams,
Yes.
Commissioner Mitchell.
Yes.
Motion moves.
Great, okay. So that brings us to the community forum. Anyone wishing to address the Economic Development Commission on any matter for which another opportunity to speak is not provided on the agenda and which is within the jurisdiction of the EDC to resolve, is requested to submit a completed speaker card to the secretary, EDC secretary. Do we have speakers? So should we just, okay.
Please approach the podium, and time will start once you begin speaking. Please state your name.
Okay, my name is Pastor Rodney Levias. Oh, excuse me. Yes, my name is Pastor Rodney Levias. My church is located on 21 Antioch Street. We have 2.4 acres of land. We're also trying to negotiate with Caltrans. They have 5 acres. My goal is to eliminate homelessness in Vallejo. I'm working with State Senator Carbaron. We meet every 4th Saturday. I'm going to be joining the Chamber of Commerce, working with Shauna, and I've also talked with the city of Vallejo, and Naomi and Annette. But our goal, my vision is to eliminate homelessness in Vallejo. Now, we are trying to negotiate with Caltrans. We've been trying to do that for over 15 years. There's 5 acres of land, which we can use to develop affordable housing in that area, in our church, and also with our church. So we've been having difficulty with them. Hopefully, we'll be able to work with Caltrans and develop that land that's right adjacent to us. As I mentioned, every 4th Saturday, we work with State Senator Carbaron's representative to address this issue. We're finally addressing the issue of homelessness in Vallejo. Now, one of the things that we would like to, and I don't know how we can do it, but I'm trying to identify the homeless population. I don't know how we can do that. Identify the population of developmentally disabled, that have mental illness. Also, we want to identify emancipated children coming out of foster care. Our goal is to try to work with Job Corps and workforce development. Hopefully, we can get those people in Job Corps or workforce development so that they can get employment opportunities. I'm looking at possibly trying to get some type of transitional housing for them. I don't know how we're going to do that, but try to get transitional housing, and then when they finish that, then they can come and we'll have affordable housing. So I'm also trying to work with social service agencies that work with the homeless, North Bay Regional Center, and all other organizations that work with, people that are homeless. What we want to do is separate housing for youth and not have it for a combination of youth and, veterans or whatever, but just have it for youth. So I'm addressing you because I'm going to all areas. I'm going to the city, State Senator Carberon, Chamber of Commerce. Now I'm addressing you. And my vision now, as I reiterated, is to eliminate homelessness in Vallejo. We can do that. We have 7 acres of land that we can start using to begin to eliminate homelessness in Vallejo. We have the agencies. Hopefully, we'll be able to get the agencies to come together every 4th Saturday. So I'm working with that with State Senator Calderon and whoever can help us get the state agencies, because they work with the homeless, they work with foster kids, they work with North Bay Regional Center or, developmentally disabled, and we want them included on how we can eliminate homelessness in Vallejo. So I'm just addressing this issue because we have a severe problem of homelessness in Vallejo.
Yeah.
And we have started a grassroots organization to begin to address this issue. We have the land. I'm going out on faith with my church, with the foundation of trying to get the funding. So we are going to end homelessness in Vallejo. This is my vision, and this is what I'm addressing to you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
Did you have your mic is?
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Okay. Thank you so much for bringing this information to us.
Okay.
We appreciate it. Thank you very much. Okay, we'll move on to, so our action calendar. Our first item is discussion and direction to staff for recommending a process for EDC to advise the city council on matters within the jurisdiction of the commission. Step 2 of 2. So we can discuss and provide direction. I'm not sure what that is actually.
So what we're trying to do is, going forward for step 2s of 2s, I will typically write up a staff report, bring you a resolution. I didn't have the information that you want included in a resolution. So you are going to come up with the details for your process so that I can be able to explain it and write it, and then bring forward a resolution.
Okay, so what we need to decide is what the process is to provide information to city council. Right now, we have the ability to send memos to council on different things, like whether it be ordinances or the information this gentleman just gave us or the information that the business owner gave us earlier. We can send memos up to staff or to council. So what would that process be? Is that something that we're going to say it can't be an ongoing action item? Are we going to have to discuss it? Will a commissioner bring it to the meeting and then we decide whether or not this is something that we want to act on? What does that process look like? Or does anybody, I'd like to hear from everybody or anybody who would like to say how they envision that process to work. Commissioner Harrell?
Yeah, I don't think that any individual should speak on behalf of the EDC without the express permission of an agreement of the chair.
No, this
at
was
the beginning.
Yeah, this would be, we would, for instance, Commissioner Mitchell would have something that she would like to, something that she thinks that the council should know about, have in their, in front of them, or something they should look into. As a body, she would bring that to us. Then we would decide, that's the resolution she needs to know what that looks like for us. How do we want somebody to bring it to us that we can provide it to council? So what does that look like for us? We need to make a resolution that says we are going to provide council with XYZ information. How are we going to decide what information gets sent up? Is it an action that we're taking? Like, what action are we taking? So, Attorney Neb, do you want to speak on that first?
Yeah, I think, so in order for you to discuss it, it goes through the two-step process based on, to discuss what you want to carry forward.
Okay.
A motion and a second and a vote is enough if it's clear enough. You don't have to go through the talk about it, come back at another meeting, adopt a resolution. Like, that's super cumbersome. Certainly for things like you're asking for money or you're adopting your work plan. Sure. Yeah, those make sense. Now, you can adopt a resolution, but I would submit to you that I think it's more cumbersome than you might be interested in if you're clear. So you get the thing added to the agenda, you talk about it. We want to suggest the council, I have an idea about something we might want to bring to the council's attention. Can we get that on our agenda? Goes through that process, get it on the agenda, and then you talk about it, and you all agree. That's a great idea. I think we as a body should carry that to the council. You vote on it, and included in your vote could be who's going to carry, are two of you going to go to the council meeting, one, or you can include that in your vote. I don't think it has to be super formal for you to decide how to carry something forward to the council. It might not be the same each time. There might be a situation where you say, wow, this is big enough and important enough and we've done enough work. We'd like to make a full-blown presentation, and therefore we want to seek an action item on the council agenda to do that, and maybe that takes more of you. I think unless the council adopts its own policy, where it says this is how we want to hear from commissions as a whole, and they could do that, I don't know. But until they do, I think you can decide any semi-formal, informal, or more formal way that you want to do it. And I think the resolution process is a little clunky for that. If you don't feel like you need to do that, there's no obligation for you to.
Okay, so I think the reason why we wanted to do the resolution was to skip over the two-step process.
That doesn't work.
So that was the main, if I can remember correctly, that was one of the main reasons why we wanted to adopt a resolution. So, Commissioner Mitchell?
Yes. I'm just trying to remember also from our last meeting, because my understanding was that we were discussing how we were going to recommend things to the council because there wasn't a proper process.
Exactly.
So rather, more about, as we decide as a body, how are we going to go to them? Is that what we're discussing?
Exactly. So
okay.
So initially,
gotcha.
We were saying if we adopted a resolution where we could just, where it wasn't something we had to go through the two-step process to avoid that. But it looks like we probably can't avoid it.
Okay. Actually embedded in the ordinance,
okay.
So yeah, sorry.
Okay. So instead of going through two-step process where we come up with something, then we put it on the agenda to discuss it, and then the next time we meet, we vote yes for it. Then after that can go to the council. So it would just take 2 months, essentially, to get there.
Gotcha. Is there a regular process? How are we then taking it to the council?
No, so what Attorney Neb was just saying is that we would action it, we would create, so for instance, at the end of this meeting, you're allowed to add, or you're allowed, but there's a section 11 where you can add in a future agenda item. And when, at that point, you would bring an idea to the commission, then it would automatically move to the next step, which is the first step, and then at that first step, which is the next meeting, we would discuss it and then move it to the second step if we thought it was going to be something that we think, as a body, vote that the council
So
should.
it's a 3-month process, not 2.
Well, it's 2 months.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right, it's technically 2 because when you meet once a month, because you're not having to agendize that first quote-unquote step. It's just at that item 11 on your agenda.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does that answer your question?
I understand that process. It's more so, as a body, as a commissioning body, what is our regular system for going to the council? Like, what is our communication? You said a memo. Right, that's what I'm trying to get to. That's why I would love to, if that is not what this item is, maybe we should put it on for step 1. Like, what is, the city does not have a current process for commissions, for them to get information from commissions. So as a body, what are we doing? What is our regular cadence of communicating and advising the city council?
We don't have one.
I think we do.
I mean, right now, we haven't sent memos to city council, as far as I know, this body, other than, have we sent memos up to city council? Yeah, so I don't think we have one, but we were trying to create a resolution where we can just say, hey, we found this ordinance at our next meeting, let's decide to create this memo without going through the 2-step process. So the resolution, if we were able to do it, would have been like a standing item.
Yeah,
that
that makes sense.
Yeah,
I'm
so
totally
now
on
you're
board
like,
with that.
we have to go. But so whatever, anything that you're thinking about, you can always bring, and we can discuss it and then decide if it's going to be something that we move forward with.
Are we thinking about adopting a standard practices of informing so that we're not meeting, and with all due respect, not meeting just to spend time together with, all you guys are lovely people, but that there is a intended outcome, that these two bodies are interconnecting the proper way? So are we talking about adopting something where we are going to be providing a report to city council? Not presentations, but there will be something produced from these meetings?
Yeah, so a memo would be produced, so if we met and we had, so for instance, if this item was, let's just say, the prostitution ordinance, because that was something that was brought up before. And we thought this was something that they should be discussing immediately, that we wanted them to we've heard from other businesses, and this was something that was we felt was really important for city council to focus on. We could write a memo to them and say, we feel that this is an important part of, the city's, issues, and you should be focusing on this, not,
So can we embed that as a standard practice, to have a memo produced every time we meet?
every time we meet? No, because it has to be an action for the item to even discuss it.
Madam Chair?
Sure.
I think that, I don't know, but I think that one of the purposes of this would be to have for this commission body, through the chair or a designee, would have direct communications with the council as a body, as opposed to a memo that is quite candidly filtered, or, staff has to facilitate and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. A staff representative would have to do work with it. The liaison can take information back to the council body. However, it does not carry the same, it may not carry the same passion, shall we say, that's representative of the position of this body. So I think it's so that we have I believe that it's so that we would have a direct line of communication with the council body as we make recommendations. Because in the past, it's been done through, I think the assistant city manager often does it, I believe, communicates information. Kind of like, what did we just recently do to council? I think,
Our work plan?
Yes, the work plan, for instance. The work plan was presented not by the chair of the commission, but by the assistant city manager and the secretary to the commission. I'm not sure, I'm just putting it out there as a possibility.
It was, but Attorney Neb, do you have to?
Just food for thought for all of you. If you get bound up in your own process, okay, and you establish a process, you're going to stick yourselves with the process that might not work for every single thing you want to carry forward. So, because all things you might want them to think about may not be considered necessarily equal in your own eyes. Something might be really time sensitive, something you might want to take 2 or 3 meetings to discuss before you get there. If you make it a memo, remember if it's coming from all of you, then you have to approve the memo. Now you've just added yet another meeting for somebody to draft it and then all of you to approve it. And I think I'm trying to suggest to you, you don't have to make this all that complicated. If the council wants a complicated process, they'll tell you, they'll take action to say everybody needs to report to us in X, Y, or Z way. I do know that they've talked a little bit about, and I'm sorry that Councilmember Matias is gone, but they have talked a little bit over the course of, I don't know, maybe the last year or so about, going back to holding some regular joint meetings with the various commissions. Now, that's not a pace that necessarily this commission, which is charged with a whole bunch of things, that pace might not work because it might happen once a year or twice a year or whatever. But again, you could decide in each instance when you decide what you want to communicate to them, how you want to communicate it. Do you want, hey, we have this idea. I want to do a write-up on it. Are we delegating that to a subcommittee? Are we delegating that to the chair or someone else? And we feel comfortable with that, and then carry that forward. Are we going 2 of us, 3 of us, whatever, there's 7 of you, 3 of you can go. So I'm not telling you how to do it. There are a lot of ways you can do it, but if you adopt a process, you're going to stick yourselves with it a little bit. So,
yeah. Vice Chairman Rowe?
Yes, City Attorney Neb, I just kind of wanted to follow up on something that you mentioned earlier about just it being clean and clear and pretty much simplistic. So if we, create a motion, whatever we're discussing, we create a motion, we vote on it, we get a second, and we say, we want to speak to the city, we want to present to the city council meeting in 2 weeks or a month or whatever it is. If we vote and approve that and it's clear and concise and actually what we're asking, what you're saying is that we can go about it that way?
yes, I'm saying you can go about it that way. Now, I am not saying you can pick when the council takes that up, because that goes through a whole agenda setting process that starts with staff and ends with the mayor and vice mayor. But you could get on the list, for lack of a better word.
Yes.
Yeah, that way.
Thank you. And I think that might be the more favorable thing for us to do instead of overcomplicating this, because like she said, it's not going to fit everything. It's not going to fit the criteria. And if it's that simple, we need to just create the best motion we can create while we're here and then get a second.
Plus
Thank you.
not be stuck doing this procedurally. Yeah, another procedure. So I think, so for item A, we don't have a, so do we just say we're not, no decision, or we're deciding that we're just going to go with the 2-step program? Okay. So for item A, we will not take action for step 2 of 2, and we will continue to use the 2-step process for everything. Okay. Action. All right, item B, discussion and direction for staff for creating an ad hoc subcommittee for business retention and expansion and appointing members to the same. So, as Vice Chairman Rowe?
Yeah, if this is the same business and retention committee that we had formerly with Director Neiman kind of leading it and going into the different businesses, this is definitely something I would suggest we all be interested in. It was a great opportunity going to, we're talking about stakeholders in the city. We went to Kaiser, we went to Six Flags, we went to Toyota, we went to real big businesses and asked them the real hard questions. You know, are you expanding? You know, are you planning on leaving? These kind of questions. I think this is a very important subcommittee, but maybe year 2 of it can be a little bit more defined and maybe a little bit better outcomes of us maybe just kind of learning the roles a little bit more and being more comfortable in that setting as well.
Sure. So do we need to vote to have the subcommittee and then have people decide they want to be on that subcommittee?
So what you would do this evening would be provide direction to staff on how you want that brought back.
Okay.
So that would include, and I think you need maybe a little guidance here. Ad hoc subcommittees can't go on forever. You can't just keep re-upping them.
Yeah,
No,
so we
but you
would-
also can't just keep re-upping them year over year. An ad hoc subcommittee has to have a specific duration, and it has to have specific charge, like a specific duty or power or whatever it is that you're asking it to do. What specifically are you asking it to do?
Okay.
So I think the things to give direction to staff tonight about, rather than appointing members, like how many people do you want on this? 2 or 3. That's really your only choice. Sorry. And I guess you could have a subcommittee of 1, but that doesn't make a lot of sense. No. And then what is the charge? Okay. What is it that you want? Pretty specific.
Okay.
For an ad hoc.
Okay.
Because remember, the idea of an ad hoc is the ad hoc committee is more nimble because it doesn't have to comply with the Brown Act. So
Yeah.
it doesn't need staff, and it doesn't need for every tiny step it takes to do a meeting, et cetera. But you have to be careful about continuing to establish the same one. You can change its charge, you can change its duration. You can also look at it from the standpoint of, the specificity is good sometimes because you can change that over time. Okay, this year we want to focus on
XYZ.
XYZ.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. So does anybody have any information that they would like to share as far as, or ideas that they'd like to share as far as this ad hoc subcommittee? For instance, would you like to be something where you're meeting monthly? However, you decide what businesses you're meeting with, and maybe you meet with one business every other month or every quarter, and maybe that business is in a specific area of the city. We can do one of the target areas that Councilmember Matias mentioned, or do a different community, the Latin community, if that's something that you would like to address. So I'm open to however anybody who wants to be in this committee, how they would see it being run. Commissioner Gonzalez?
I love the idea of the clusters, and I think we should follow the direction and the vision that Councilmember Matias came and shared. So just aligning ourselves with that and probably focusing on that. Did he say past Nebraska, Sonoma past Nebraska, all the way to Popeyes? And possibly in collaboration with the city, we can get some business list in that demographic area and target that and support and do what we're charged to do.
Okay, so it would be outreach to businesses in that Sonoma corridor.
Didn't you identify several clusters in your work plan?
We did, and those were them. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He
There we
made
go.
us put them on during the meeting, like
Got
on
it.
the fly.
Got it,
so,
got it, got it.
Yeah. So it would be business outreach, and would that be something that you did? And how often would you visit? And Would it be something that you did monthly, quarterly?
Does it have to be spelled out?
No. That doesn't have to be spelled out. But think about it when you're creating the ad hoc so that you know kind of like where you're going to be in. And you have to meet every month because you have to report to the commission that you've met, what you've discussed. Like Attorney Knapp said, we don't have to follow the Brown Act because there can only be no more than 3 of us.
So it needs to be monthly, or it doesn't have to be monthly?
You have to, the subcommittee theoretically should be meeting often, which is the
Yeah.
purpose of the subcommittee. And then on the agenda, we have an area where you have,
Right,
you
every
report
month.
to the
Okay,
commission.
yeah.
So do you have to meet? You don't, but it's, the purpose of it
I
is to
just
meet.
meant, was it,
And those,
I'm playing devil's
and
advocate.
those meetings can be virtual.
They can be
Oh, yeah.
virtual.
You don't
yeah,
have to be
exactly.
present for
They're
those
not,
meetings.
they don't have to be, they're not as formal.
I want to throw a possible monkey wrench in the, I'm very eager to talk to property owners because we could go and talk to all the business owners in a corridor, but they often don't have the money to, say, fix up their building, or they don't control who's going to lease up the space next door. And so I think it's good to do the business visits and to help support the businesses. And I think it would be really great if we were talking to property owners. Like, I'm kind of eager to go talk to the shopping center owners because we've got all these comatose shopping, well, they're not all comatose, but some of them are. And, or the property owners along the corridor, like, I would love to do that.
Yeah,
So
I'm
not sure if
yeah,
that's
I
part
said
of this or
businesses.
it's different.
No,
or
no,
if
no, I
it's-
said businesses, but it could be property owners
Okay,
and anybody
businesses
in the
and
corridor.
property owners,
Of
yeah,
course.
yeah, okay.
And it doesn't have to be limited to the corridor. Could be,
Right, but at least it's a place to
but
start.
that's somewhere you could start and
And
say.
we know that at least one council member's like, okay,
Yeah,
guys, are you working on
exactly.
it?
So if we say, as Attorney Nebb was saying, we can call this business retention and expansion in the Sonoma corridor, and it could be a 1-year subcommittee, and
Yeah, I think
that
that
would
makes sense.
actually meet our requirements. So,
Yeah.
great. So we would call it, let's call it the Business Retention and Expansion Ad Hoc Subcommittee for the Sonoma Boulevard Corridor. Okay, and it would have no more than 3 members, and it would be for the duration of 1 year. Commissioner Mitchell?
It's okay. We can keep going.
No. Are you sure?
I was just gonna say, I love that idea of talking to the property owners. I do think they are 2 different things. The property owners, what they need is different than what a
Sure.
business owner is gonna need. And so, not trying to make extra work, but I'm just wondering, how do we differentiate and make sure?
Well, in the subcommittee, I mean, you have the opportunity, you have the option of visiting whoever you want. So
Okay.
if you wanted to be, if one of you want to focus on
Gotcha.
owners and the other on businesses, I mean, that's totally fine.
Okay.
So,
Thank you.
great. So, do we have to, so we just roll call for that?
Yeah, do a roll call to give that direction to staff, and on your next meeting, there'll be a resolution establishing that, and you can fill in the blanks for who those members will be
Great.
at that time.
Great. So can we do a roll call for the creation of the Ad Hoc Subcommittee of Business Retention and Expansion of the Sonoma Corridor for 1 year?
Okay, Chair Lufus,
Yes.
Vice Chair Monroe,
Yes.
Commissioner Harrell,
Yes.
Commissioner Gonzalez,
Yes.
Commissioner Williams,
Yes,
Commissioner Mitchell.
Yes.
Motion passes with 6 yeas.
Great. Okay, we have a subcommittee. Item C, consider EDC expenditures of
Excuse me, do we-
budgeted funds as
We have a subcommittee? Not members of.
No, the members will be noted at the next meeting. As well as the creation, the resolution.
Thank you.
All right,
Thank you.
so the expenditures of budgeted funds as proposed by Chair Lufus and Vice Chair Monroe, step 2 of 2. So we wanted to discuss our next steps for our budget. So Vice Chairman Rao?
Yeah, so, I mean, as I mentioned earlier, it looks like the only thing that we've actually paid for so far was the training. You know, Commissioner Harrell was asking about, you know, business cards a little bit there, so different things like that. I'm not sure what our next steps are, but maybe we can have that discussion tonight. As they've mentioned to us, that we definitely need to be on a timely manner when we're using these funds. We got blessed with the rollover, essentially. So let's definitely, you know, grab this and use it while we can. Thank y'all.
Great. Does anyone have questions about the budget? Since some of you weren't here when it was initially discussed and adopted, or for what the funds were to be used for.
Were there
Commissioner Harrell?
any ideas discussed about how to use the funds?
Yes.
Already?
It's actually in the work plan.
Okay.
Do we have that slide still from, we had a budget on the 2024 budget? Dang, man.
Danny's quick.
Ooh-wee.
Magical. Okay, so he's like, get out. So social media marketing, that's a rollover from the previous. This is the rollover budget. So social media marketing, the Grow Vallejo signs and banners. I think that we can reallocate that to just any signage. I think we discussed. I'm not sure. The EDC trainings, and then supplies. Originally, I mean, this was done in 2023, so I don't really remember what the supplies, business cards, postcards, et cetera. This predates us getting badges. We were always talking about, we go into a business, no one knows who we are, and so, but staff was able to get us badges with our names on them, so we didn't need business cards. Postcards, I mean, I feel like that can be something that, you know, as far as marketing for an event or something that we're going to help promote. And then, Manny, can you go to the next slide? Oh, I guess we don't have it. Maybe the previous slide? Oh, there it goes. So this is our new budget, safety and beautification, professional photography, so we can have photos done, doing roundtables and recruitment events, marketing, and then community engagement, sentiment analysis. So these are the areas that we have funds for. If we wanted to, let's say, attach ourselves to the next restaurant week and promote, as you had said earlier, if we wanted to work with them and we wanted to create something for the Latin community, we could use these funds to, you know, get some marketing done or work with Kirk and see what, you know, how we can provide outreach to other communities or people that don't normally or are not obsessed with social media. So, Commissioner Williams, did you?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, these are good to have, great to have the categories, and then we should, or I can't brainstorm on the spot right here,
Sure.
but, you know, we could, I presume we could take this up again, or?
Sure.
I don't know, what do you want to, what can we do tonight?
I would encourage everybody to look at the work plan.
Okay.
And I believe everyone received the updated work plan. So if you all have it, just review it. You've heard some things here tonight from Kirk and some great ideas. So if there's anything, like what do you consider to be like the most important things that we should be looking at to spend funds on? Like the reason why we never spent money before is because we're so frugal, we're like, oh, no, that's not worth, like, we don't want to do that. So I think now we've kind of dipped our toe in and we used some money, so now we're like, let's use some more. So let's see where we can be most helpful and get the most out of the budget that we have, so.
Chair Lufus.
Yeah.
The previous slide showed a budget remaining. Was that approved to be rolled over
It
into
was.
this? So the current budget is now, you've left
27.
line items in the previous budget amounts.
Yes.
Can that money be rolled back into these for what we may determine?
I believe that we discussed that it could be reallocated, but it has to be reallocated to what our new, so,
Yes, that's what I'm speaking
and
to.
it's up to us. We can reallocate it as we.
Okay, and is that something that takes place at this time, or is that something that takes place later?
I think we'd have to action that.
Well, you already have the funding, so,
We just actually.
yeah, so for like the 24, 25, when it says marketing, it's 1,500 additional funds that you have for marketing, which you could tie into some of these other line items.
Right.
And
Well,
combine.
I'm looking, excuse me, I'm sorry for interrupting
okay.
you. I'm looking and just, I don't have it in front of me, but there was a $3,000 for postcard investment or expenditure.
Supplies.
For supplies. I'm not sure that we would, a $3,000 investment in that is not going to go very far. And so I would not even recommend it. I would recommend more stronger presence in a social media place as opposed to postcards. So do we need $3,000 in there for supplies? What are the supplies we need?
Well, I think supplies was used very loosely, so it was more of like printed
Marketing.
items. So it said business cards, like postcards, etc.
Well,
So, for
marketing.
instance, if we wanted to make a flyer for Restaurant Week for the Latin community, we could use that, print flyers, and then pass them
So
out,
wouldn't that
essentially.
fall under the marketing
Yeah, or outreach.
dollars?
Or outreach, exactly.
Yeah,
we
so I
could
would
use
reallocate that money into that fund. And
We
maybe,
don't have to
maybe.
reallocate anything.
Okay.
Technically, we can just use it as it sits.
Okay.
So it doesn't have to be reallocated to this budget to be able to use it. We could just
Right.
use it if we want to reallocate it. Like say we don't want to do any more trainings, and we want to roll that over to photography, we could do that. So
Okay, all right.
Madam Chair,
sure.
some things I did at my previous place of work, we had, we gathered property owners and developers together to brainstorm. We wanted to matchmake, bring them together, so.
Yeah.
They might not be meeting each other otherwise. And then you can also we could have groups of all the merchants on the different stretches of
Sure.
Sonoma or something like that. And we also used to have occasional broker breakfasts, like invite all the brokers in town to learn what's going on at the city or new opportunities or things like that.
Okay.
Just to throw some
Yeah,
things out
and you
there.
have a line item of $3,500 for business roundtables,
Yes.
recruitment
Right.
events, so you have that.
Yeah.
Attorney Neb, did you want to jump in? No.
I'm
Okay.
sorry.
Okay. Great. So I think we've just discussed that we probably want to not take action on this and after review of the work plan, come back to this item. Does that look like something we can do? So do we need to vote that or?
No, staff will just bring it back and you can discuss it more fully at your next meeting and then decide if you want to take some actions then.
Great. Okay, so item D, consider EDC expenditures as proposed by the business highlights and shop local, what? We can probably bring this one back as well. Yeah. Or maybe not. I feel like we can't do anything because we don't have the committee yet. So maybe we don't take action on this because we can bring it back at a later date after the subcommittee is created and the members are chosen and they have a solid direction. So I'd say we take this, we can remove this one. We won't take action on this item.
All right.
Is that? Okay. Great. So now we've already done community forum, so we move on to item 11, which is future agenda items. So are there any items that any commissioner would like to discuss at the next meeting or a later meeting or just information that they'd like to have? Attorney Knapp, would you like to? Oh. Commissioner Harrell?
I mentioned earlier a report of city expenditures to business entities within the city. Business entities, contractors, consultants that are within the boundaries of the city of Vallejo. I think that data can be pretty easily derived simply by sorting to zip codes or sorting to city at the payout station, where the payments are made. So that would be something in a bookkeeping or in the accounting area to be able to help us with that.
So I think if at your next meeting you move this beyond step one, probably staff will need to reach out to the finance department and figure out how hard that is, because sometimes the mailing address isn't the same and wouldn't necessarily be the same zip code as, it might be a subsidiary here in town. And so I can't say whether that's even possible, but I'm not the one you have to ask that question of, so.
And I'll just throw out there that I know that any business that, even if they're not located in Vallejo, they have to get a Vallejo business license. So it might look like they're a Vallejo business, but they're really located in Santa Ana or something like that. So
Would it be possible just to get a vendor list for all the vendors and then we can sift through that?
because yeah, go ahead. Trina.
So that vendor list is a little weird. I'm not sure. So the checks that are written by the finance department are created in a report that's provided to the council anyway. So that list exists, but it doesn't exist currently by address, I don't think. So if the city writes a $10,000 check to ABC Company, that list will, today, as it already exists printed, wouldn't necessarily tell you the location of ABC Company. I think I cannot answer this question for you. Finance can, but I can't. So if you push it beyond,
Yeah.
I mean, you're asking for it to be agendized at step one. At step one, you can talk about whether you do want to do it, and then if you do at step two, we can ask the finance department what they can
Great.
produce. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Yeah, you know, I expect that there's going to be more expenditures outside. I would simply like to know what the expenditures are inside. You know, that data helps, it just helps me to understand more about what's actually going on within the houses of City Hall, the police department, and otherwise. Where are the expenditures made for goods and services that might be able to be made in Vallejo? Is Vallejo the first option that we look at? That's all I'm asking.
Okay. All right, so any other future agenda items? No? Great. And do we have any, item 12, any announcements anyone would like to share? Commissioner Harrell? No? Okay. All right. The meeting is adjourned at 9:05.